happen. Meanwhile, Spur's looking for a lane gank, but Rick is here as well.
Yes, he is, and we're going to see a full-on 3v3. Rick diving into the middle of everybody. Rioklu goes low, ignited. She's going to go down. Speedy's going to get credit for that. Killing Control is here as well, so an instant power play.
They do melt it. Woj does a ton of damage. Rook Stout's going to go in. J-Bob is going to walk up. Sword goes down before he can ult. See J-Bob fighting Autopsy in the Shadow Realm. Lemon's going to go down. Talon is going to go down, doing absolutely no damage. Base race right now.
Oh my god. Is this it? Nexus!
It looks like Nexus is...
I don't think they're going to get it! They're not going to get it!
Tony
No!
I mean, the Urgot's ult is on him, but he doesn't have enough damage. Now it's going to be a 5v4 because Vex is not there. They're in the middle. Tony's hitting everybody. Big Q3 comes through. Braum ult's in the middle, buying time. Tindered ult down as well because Cruz dropped very, very low on the edges of the fight. On the back, Wojtek is firing away, though. Tony does finally drop. Swiss falls as well. J-Bob goes pop at the very end. Double kill for Jinx. Flash forward, gets the hook! He's nuts! Not the only one at the hit, though. It's okay. Oh, Bruce! One more auto! Talon! One more! No! Yes! Oh, wow. Quadrigo for the Jinx in a 4v5.
Rook is being completely zoned from getting in the fight. Now with Sandy on top of him. Oh, he missed the, oh, wait, but Bush is not having it. Oh boy, Swiss, I appreciate it, but you're dead. And they got the soul. Yes. Rough time. Oh, and there goes the boom.
Yeah, I mean the timer's on Snakerdoodles here though. They've got 2 inhibs down, so they're the ones who need to move.
Here we go. We're coin flipping the Drake. It goes down. Calvert secures the Drake. That's going to be big jam, and that spells possibly disaster to Ride or Die. Interesting fights going top and bottom. Rudy's still alive. I'll take mid. Can he get a big kill here? Oh no!
Mid clicked R onto Sandy instead of onto Lucid.
I think they still clean it up. It doesn't matter.
To see it potentially drawing bans in future series. As Tony goes for the ult, he goes for the long range. He's just been absolutely smashing Espen's face.
He's just trying to make sure Espen can't play the game.
He gets the chance. Oh boy, it's just been a rough one for Espen on this Soraka. Sir Aaron, see you later. Tail whip. Dominating, Bully going golden, sacrificing for his buddy, Tail Whip jumping in, getting the double kill. Abarn, see you later.
Again, all these fights are starting and they're ending with the TK, right? If you're picking Pajama Party, how are you going to get in? And it looks like a steal will come in.
J-Bob's playing. We see Tony get a ton of damage onto Swiss, able to ult, get a couple of rocks off, get his passive onto Rook, and we see Tony's passive is getting passed around. Autopsy ults here, tries to hit somebody, ends up hitting Sword. Sword's gonna go down. And J-Bob flashing onto Woj, takes him down. Triple kill from this Fiora. Talon is excited. We see Lemon walk up and ult. Lemon.
Let's go, Lemon.
The Jarvan brings at the point in the game. Hippo, they're looking to catch him. Oh no! You hate to see it. Blood goes down. Cal's still in trouble here. Does get out of the Jarvan ult. I don't think, Cal, you really want that fight, but some big poke down on Blood. Maybe we see a little Baron action here?
Yeah, I mean...
Oh, no.
Oh.
Rudy, Calvert killing his twin just like that. How could you ever do a man like that? Hippo probably just going to out back to safety. Bush is looking for a fight. That is Bush. You don't want to be there. Hippo goes down, though. Okay, Cal is in trouble. He has some shields on him. Pridian is, I think, going to go down here. Oh, Cal
Lucid's got to play this really well here.
Sandy, I think Sandy might be biting off more than he can chew. Okay, he's probably going to get an E off. Oh my goodness.
Really good
Zanya.
Oh.
He's going to kill them both.
It's dead for sure.
The team builds a beautiful concave just to kind of push him out. And here comes the Ornhorn. Abarn isolated out. Counter engage coming in. Rioklu jumping in. Flashes out immediately. And here comes the front to back that drink more water once. Spurg's passive is popped. Espen goes down. That's a double kill. I believe that's a triple. Yes, it is for Boy. Is that a quadra? Could this be a penta?
Talon with the ult. It does not connect. J-Bob, though, able to walk in and fight Hippo. Hippo's rather large here. J-Bob standing in the middle of him. I think J-Bob has him in
Rudy!
Age. Rudy with a ton of damage. Tony able to pick up a bunch of kills. Tony doing a ton of damage.
We saw that from them all last season on Go Mega. Sir Aaron just face tanking the entire team, going down low health, gets knocked up along with Espen. Wow, Rook and getting the steal on the Dragon. And this is actually just going to be a total rout for Drink More Water. Holy moly, where did this damage come from? Rioklu is doing her best, but it is just not enough. A triple kill for a boy. And the fade away Ignite.
I feel like proper 5v5 in the series.
I don't
It's
think
going to land.
proper
He's
5v5
going
go well.
forward. They're onto the Scion, starting to do some damage, playing him back in, and they are going to chunk him down. He's going to drop. Controls on the backside, looking for an opportunity. They are aware of it and playing this fight very slowly. In the passive, a lot of damage from the Ziggs there. Here comes Control all the way in. Bird's still alive in the background. Lodge still also alive in the background. Can he get the damage down? Not quite. Music runs in. He's going to get the kill. I don't know if Bird can do enough. He's all the way low.
Jumping away. Spurg, however, is a very, very speedy deer. Abarn going to jump in onto it. Music flashes. The rest of the team is there, but this is a 2v3 situation with Rick and Control on the way. Teleport going down. It's a little bit late, though. Music is somehow surviving, does eventually go down, but this is just a bloody back and forth fight. Control just slamming orbs in the background. Rioklu being forced out, and this is just a wallet throw. 3 for 1 in favor of the Beautiful Mutant Sausages. The knockup gets nailed. Control is unstoppable.
So he's at, what, like 3,200 health with it?
Yeah, he is. Tony actually going in, getting the bounce up from Lemon. So they're going to try to push this down. Abarn is going low. They are able to show.
Low, but
That's
not
a
low
rough
enough.
one. Bully able to knock out Spurg. Abar going low. There's Tail Whip getting the shutdown. Rioklu coming in from the back end. Bully trying to face block as much as he possibly can. And Tail Whip just trying to stay alive at that point. But here comes Rioklu getting the double kill and trying to chase down Lemon for the third. Yeah. There's the charm under the turret.
Just stop the GPS for a second. Oh, flashes into the pit. Wait, his team's here. J-Bob, this is your moment. Big ult coming through. Double kill. J-Bob doing as much damage as he can. Has 3 down. He's going to kill Verd here as well. Keep those E's pounding, baby. Ult does come through. Lemon here to save him if he can. Pulled 4 top, and now they're going to crack the base.
Yes, they certainly are. As we see the engage coming down onto Sir Aaron, the Yumi as more of a disengage than anything. Sir Aaron going incredibly low. Sivir ulti popped, Sivir Bully and Tony all popping the ultis. A lot of summoner spells being burned to try to keep them off this tower. Rioklu going back in and just gets obliterated. Espen somehow staying alive. Abarn getting the return kill onto Tony. Spurg way in the back line, and Abarn is going to be there trying to help his buddy out. Spurg going deep, trying to knock out Tail Whip. Does so. Abarn going to get credit for both of those. The bouncy house ricocheting off of the minions, and wow, the incredible trust from the side of Penguin Pajama Party.
Alistar's just going to hit you out anyway. Alistar did go Glacial, which is the superior keystone.
Lucian Dazzle's
Engage
in.
coming in, though. Rook here as well. Talon mid, no flash. Also, I'm really bad at letting you shout, guys.
No, just do it. It's okay.
Okay,
just do it already.
Lemon flashes out, does hook him back under turret. Nunu coming in with the big bomb. Oh, dude. Oh. Nothing happens there. Maybe Swiss is just so tanky already. Nunu all channeling, gonna knock down Swiss for sure. Wojtek also taking 1 million damage. Oh, moving through the bushes. Double kill over to
Lemon, the
Nunu.
hooker.
Looking a little low right now. Lemon showing him what is up on Nautilus. Triple kill for Tony.
Do you have a tracker in your head about who has flash, like at all times when you play the game?
No. Oh, in my head?
Yeah.
Well, I'll just ping. Oh, hang on. We'll talk about this after. We just could watch Hippo
Yeah, huge
absolutely
fight going on
slaughter
here.
the team.
Rudy able to pick up two taunts there.
Oh, Hippo.
Potential death rush coming in. Sir Aaron has
45
also met a
or
death rush.
55.
Never met a death rush. He didn't want to go in. Tony going into the backside, trying to push Rioklu out. Rioklu, however, staying safe. Tail going low, able to swing as much as he possibly can. He gets exhausted, going low, still surviving. Spurg goes down. Rioklu going deep though, and able to knock him out. And this is going to be a 3 for 1 so far. Double kill for Rioklu, really turning on. And there's the Realm War for the cleanup.
Running mid, Zaya's running mid as well. They don't want to get caught out here. They are going to get caught out. J-Bob getting hit. J-Bob not going down yet. We do see Misfortune get a full ult into 2 people. Zaya with a double kill. Tony with a bunch of damage. Tony gonna get a bunch of damage. We see Bird going down here. Lemon. It's kind of off screen there. Altig mid takes a ton of damage, has to flash away.
Sword steals these. This is his angle.
Sword does have an angle here, and blue team does get the
Sivir gets
Baron. Talon gets it. A ton of damage.
Wait a minute, they're getting wiped.
let's see. Yep, TP coming in from Sir Aaron. They do secure the Baron. This is a 5v3 situation, but what are they going to do? Are they going to fight? Or are they going to wait? It's Bully. They're fighting. Here we go. Bully goes berserk, jumps in on Abarn. Lantern is there. Are they going to disengage? Sir Aaron getting low, trying to disengage, gets knocked, gets stunned. Bully is deep. Bully is dead. This could be the counter engage that they're looking for. Tony, however, still alive. Abarn goes down. Tailwhip gets the kill. Does potentially have the reset. Yes, he does. There's the exhaust. Reset number 2. Double kill. Could this be a triple? Yes, it will. No. Come on, Tony. Give him the triple. I don't think he's going to get it here.
Into the trading force versus just a straight up collector. I actually think it's fine here, as now Calbert's going to look for a dive on the top side here, actually taking the turret. That's really critical here. There's not a lot of HP to work with, as there goes jazz music. It was really bad.
Doesn't see Bird in this bush, but would be a really good opportunity. So Tony's going to take the gate. We see Sword with his ult. He's got to flash out. J-Bob flashes in. He's going to get knocked up. J-Bob's going to go... J-Bob's going to ult before he goes down. Able to stay alive. Bird in the back. Wojtek in the back. We see Talon mid. Talon's going to go down. BMW takes 4. BMW aces them.
Rick is here for the counter dive if they decide to go for one.
Oh, they're just throwing.
Each
on the
wall.
They don't find anything. I don't know. They're going to trade back and forth. Passive going over. Going to stun on Rick. Very low members for both. Ulti coming over the top. Waj is still full HP. They might be able to turn this. He's looking for more flashes for it. Speedy 1 HP. Another auto comes through, but here comes Irep. He's got his traps. And also control
coming up.
Quadra plus. Gonna get bombed by Ziggs. They get the stun, they get the kill!
To try to burn down this Baron quickly, and they're doing a great job. Spur trying to do his best Rook impression. Try to see it, gets it canceled! Oh my god, what a play from Swiss Army. But oh my god, no, the Baron is not low. Who's gonna get it? It's gonna be a smite fight. And Rook is down, so it's actually gonna be going. Oh my god, Swiss got it.
Back up, but maybe he thought they were coming up. Oh, okay, now we see Orman Gig onto the side of BMS falling. Irep going golden. Stalling for his team to the step one or Wombo combo down. Speedy trying to get his damage out. Control still alive. Ooh, double kill on the Sandy, but hey, I mean, Speedy's still alive. He's fighting for his life. He's got the Zaya R. I wonder if he's E yet. Rick, you gotta help. You gotta help. Oh, no, he's trying to.
We see Bully's actually going to be walking into said bot lane. Great route, and here comes Bully.
Yep, here comes Bully over on it, but they don't have a ton of damage, and as David is actually showing up on the backside of it, here comes the heal coming, but there's the Vex on the backside. No fear, it looks like, but they are going to be able to get a big Drowsy over as Perform Bully still alive due to that Shinel, and Vex comes in, almost is able to secure the kill over on Toasty. Now, David is going in. He has no ultimate available, but does have the rest of his abilities, and there comes I'll Take Mid. He is here. He is ready to kill people, flashing in from Tail Whip, looking for that final kill. It is just a absolute wipe. Shin has no way to access this fight.
Now, it is just them, though. Okay, here comes the Renata ult, perhaps premature. Cal flashes out of the ult. They're very split right now, but the Renata ult's down. Ooh, the taunt narrowly misses. Is Talonmig gonna start getting some action here? Ooh, the Fiddlesticks ult is kind of nothing happens with the Fiddlesticks ult, sadly. With Raven's resurrecting, I don't think it's gonna be enough, sadly, from the team of PR to be able to kind of clean that out. A lot of damage missed, unfortunately. They're very far behind on gold. Ooh, the ult from the Draven brings it very low. Do they even need it? Ooh, is Bush gonna go down to Tony? Yes, he's gonna give it all? Nope. No. Sorry. Tony actually tries to sacrifice everything just to get the one kill, but instead he just gives over.
And what a way to start the Season 7 Tilt Champions League Finals. A Draven quadra kill, as if Luciv's ego couldn't get any bigger. We're putting him on the big screen. I am Jaws, very, very excited to hang out with Box to see two of the, not arguably, the best teams in the TCL this season just go at each other for 5 rounds. How's it going, Box? How you feeling?
It's going great. It's always happy to be here with you, Jaws. Honestly, I'm so hyped after that highlight video. Seeing everyone make these plays, I'm just excited for a great finals.
Yeah, it really is going to be a great finals, and we have so many matchups that we could look at. We actually have the players in the lobby already just spamming like, hey, go, 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 we're ready, we're ready, we're ready. So they're excited, but let's just talk about a couple of our featured matchups before we get into Champion Select. And you and I were talking before this cast. Actually, just kidding, we're going to go straight into Champion Select. They don't even want to wait, but the real featured top lane, as the first couple of bands are going to go, really has to be the top lane, right? It's Bloodbath and Beyond. He's been on an absolute tear this season against Hippogriff, who... he can play with the best, but it really depends on what side of the coin he flips with his cursed coin. Because I'm convinced he has a cursed coin, and when he flips heads, all good. Flips tails, not so much.
Absolutely. The story of this season has been Bloodbath and Beyond taking over in this top lane versus all of the other top laners, kind of showing that he's kind of on a different level. Meanwhile, on the other side, Ride or Die for sure playing on a different tempo from everyone else as well. They have just been able to keep up the pressure, keep up the plays, and just there's team fighting, their early game, and the way that they move around the map with two, three people at a time is just completely different from the way everyone else is playing. So is Ride or Die going to be able to kind of set the tempo, kind of play the game that they want to play, or is the top lane difference going to make that much of a difference going into that mid game, late game once the team fight starts happening?
Yeah, that really seems to be the ticking time bomb, because that's what Snake feels like. Sandy Snake, specifically, the snake in the Snakerdoodles, is the ticking time bomb. He is the late game carry. He is, going up against I'll Take Mid, who is more like a nuclear bomb, right?
And
when he goes off.
Mid.
Yeah, there you go. 3 bands against I'll Take Mid. As you mentioned, the Snakerdoodles in the blue trunks on the blue side, facing off against Ride or Die on the red side. Ride or Die opting towards, I believe, 2 jungle bands as well as the Xayah ban. Xayah very strong, as we see the Kazakhs being hovered. Just kidding. It's going to be Leona, one of Bush League's best champions.
Exactly. And I think Xayah has been such a contested pick throughout this entire season on the AD carries because of the way that other teams have been enjoying playing aggressively in the top side of the map. It really kind of both gives you some playmaking ability and the ability to let your team kind of do what they want. And I think, especially with these engaged supports coming through, I think that's a really savvy ban.
Ooh, yeah. And then we see the Lilia from Caridian. Caridian has been fantastic on Lilia. Lilia, a great high mobility AP jungler, opens up mid's pool a little bit, although mid pretty much known for running AP champions. I'm trying to think of if mid has run any ADs to date this season. But Lilia, that long-range drowsy Caridian, able to move around the map, as you said, catching people in rotations. Calbert, on the other end, has been all engaged tanks all day long. He's been kind of joking on cast, in chat, about how he's just a Zach one trick, and he's just enjoying the show. But engaged tanks really are his style. And you mentioned before, we thought we were going to see a little bit more of a passive bot lane, but with a Leona and a Nautilus, I don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah, exactly. Both teams going to be wanting to go in, looking for those windows, and there's the Sylas. So far, really signature picks kind of coming out from everyone. It seems like both teams just happy to pick their own strengths and just kind of go at it. And honestly, especially with this Caridian Lilia, we've seen such huge plays coming out from that I wonder if he's going to be able to make it happen, especially against something like a Sejuani Leona. Or is he going to be able to get locked down and take away that mobility to the point to where he's not going to be able to play the game?
Yeah, there's some serious explosiveness on the side of the Snakerdoodles, but Syndra is one of the explodiest of the carries. So curious to see what Luciv is going to grab to maybe get a little bit more safety. But yeah, the Sylas taking that away from I'll Take Mid. We see Jax as a ban directed straight at Bloodbath and Beyond. Sure. Actually, a bit of a contested pick between Blood and Hippo. There's the return. I see your Jax. I raise you Yone. I don't want to deal with that. And we were talking about some of the champions that we may see in the top lane as Sivir being banned away from Luciv. I'm curious what this last ban is going to be, because it's really going to come down to what is going to be in the top lane, and can Blood kind of get the snowball rolling before I'll Take Mid does.
Exactly, yeah. Or maybe does David devote more of his time, up toward that top lane to really help out whatever pick they have. They do have red side pick, so if they decide to leave that top pick last, they will have the counter. The real question is, how much of Hippo's pool is left kind of going into this last phase of picks that he can have that freedom to actually pick a counter pick versus whatever Blood picks?
Yeah, we have the Gwen. He still has the Gwen open. He does. I don't think we're going to see the Shen ever again in TCL. It seems like a pick he's been backed into. As we see the Zeri grab, that is a pocket pick for Toasty. And I will say, a couple of days ago, we were playing a couple of games, and he said, "Hey, man, just so you know, I've been labbing a build on Zeri. It's looking really strong. I think I might bust it out in the finals. Love to see it. Zeri is really, really fun to watch." As we see the Draven hover from Luciv, I don't know. Maybe he'll pick it.
Oh,
he's gonna pick it. What?
There it is. I was wondering if he was going to go with something like an Ezreal or something like that, but like as soon as the Zeri came out, I was like, I'm not so sure about that. But the Draven pick, just manning up, League of Draven into honestly 3 squishies. I'm just worried if he's going to be able to get into range to make plays happen. But I mean, the rest of his team is well set up for him to be able to carry. So if that's what they want to set up, that's what they got.
That's actually a very good point. As the Cassante is locked in for blood, blinding it into whatever pick Hippo picks.
I mean, it's Cassante.
It's a very no, into whatever Hippo picks.
I understand. Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, it's Cassante. Cassante does as Cassante will. That's a fair point. But it is a very short range comp for the side of the Snakerdoodles, right? Silas has to go in. You know, they got a lot of dashes, this or that, and there's the Gwen. That is kind of what we were expecting from Hippogriff, but a very AP heavy comp on the side of very AP heavy on the side of Ride or Die. On the other side, kind of short range. Get up in your face for the Snakerdoodles. Interesting setup. What's your first takes now that we've seen both of these comps?
Yeah, absolutely. I think both sides kind of getting what they've been workshopping and what they've really kind of enjoyed playing. I think this is definitely something where they've defaulted to comfort and they've kind of moved in directions that they know that they kind of have been wanting to move toward. And especially since we've had a little bit of a break since the semifinals, I think both teams are kind of still finding a little bit of a new identity and maybe hoping to throw some curveballs in. But at the same time, like you said, Ride or Die coming in with a very AP heavy comp. Zeri going to have to bring that physical damage, but they do have a lot of pick between the Syndra, between the Lilia, and the Gwen being able to kind of split the map. I wonder if they're going to be able to deal with this engage from the side of Snakerdoodles, though, because they truly have the run at you comp.
Yeah, if they get in there, it's going to be really, really nasty. They just have to get in there. And speaking of which, we are going to get into a unique feature of our TCL finals. We have an analyst desk led by none other than Mr. Titanium Skull, been doing it pretty much every season. Shows up for the finals, hangs out. He's there with Rioklu. Before we kick it over to them, Box, who's going to take this?
Oh, I'm gonna go Snakerdoodles.
Alrighty, Box says Snakerdoodles. Let's see what the analysts have to say.
Alrighty, folks. Welcome to the analyst desk. As Jaws said, it is me, Titanium Skull, and Rioklu. We will be in between the games as well as in between the draft and the game start here. So, Rioklu, interesting draft here. I think a lot of this matchup is going to come down between the junglers and how they kind of control this pace of the game. We saw Caridian take a Lilia pick. How do you think that's going to impact the game here early? Like, he's going to try and scale up, but they normally like to get quick picks and stuff like that in the jungle. How do you think that's going to play out, and how can he control the game?
Yeah, no, I think Caridian's pick is really interesting. I think, in general, Lilia, I mean, she can output a lot of damage, especially, I assume he's going to go like a Leandre's type build. So, great for disengaging, which, I think Snakerdoodles want to do. I mean, clearly through their draft, like Cassante, Sejuani, Leona, Silas, they're very all in. The concern I thought about though with Snakerdoodles draft is that they're very, very tanky, but they don't have as much damage. They're going to be very, very reliant on Luciv to output.
Yeah. Not a whole lot of magic damage unless that Silas pick can take that Malphite ult and really get into the team there and kind of blow them up.
Yeah, no, exactly. But, on the opposite side, like Rod, heavy AP comp, not a lot of frontline. So,
yeah, it's going to be dangerous with those engaged tanks there. Will be from the side of Snakerdoodles are going to have a field day going after the Syndra, going after that Zeri. it's going to be even Lilia. She's going to be quick, but he's got to be able to get up there to get there. So
Yeah, for sure. But hey, I mean, Rod's been cooking up something interesting, and I think we'll be very interested to see what this Zeri build will be. I've been practicing with Rod for a bit, so I can't really tell you what will happen, but it'll be interesting.
But I mean, so just from this first draft, though, who do you think has the edge here for game one?
It's really hard to say because it really just comes down to how they play. I think Rod has a more difficult comp to execute.
I agree on that.
Damage. You know, I mean, but Snakerdoodles have like so many tools. I think Draven is really hard to play as well, so we're just gonna have to see how it's played.
Yep. And so I think Snake has a comp that's more towards their play style, so I'm gonna pick them in this first game. But we're gonna hand it back over to Jaws and Box to get into game one.
All right, thank you so much, T-Skull and Rioklu, for that analysis. And we are into game one. And Box, we were talking about a couple of different options for the win conditions for each of these teams. And I think you and I are both leaning a little bit ride or die as we're getting into this. Looks like a 5-point on both sides. No one taking any chances. But yeah, we were both kind of leaning ride or die, where we said they have a lot more options. They can do a lot more things. And at least in my opinion, their team comp is really designed to kind of wear down the beef wall of the Snakerdoodles, whereas Snakerdoodles, they got to really nail it quick. Otherwise, Ride or Die could really run circles around them.
Yeah, I think they've done some really interesting things, especially with that last pick, Gwen, where Gwen is kind of, if Snakerdoodles kind of commits to that all-in team fight where they just immediately jump in and just commit all of their front line between the Cassante and the Sejuani and the Leona, all of a sudden Gwen just on a flank in a setup team fight is able to just zone the Draven out for 4 full seconds during that Shroud. And it makes it extremely hard, especially since she has the ability to one-shot like such an immobile AD carry. So kind of, it really depends. Are Ride or Die going to be able to get that kind of team fight set up with Gwen on a flank? Or is it going to be a situation where if they do pick a target, they just immediately blow them up and all of a sudden now it's a 4v5, so it doesn't matter?
Yeah, there's definitely a squishier comp on the side of Ride or Die. So if Snakerdoodles gets that snowball rolling, especially with the Draven, and the Draven,
totally. Yeah,
going to be the key. Can the Draven stay alive?
I mean, we have all been on the receiving ends of Draven one shots if he gets fed enough to where like doesn't matter what your comp looks like. So it really is, are they going to be able to kind of play toward this bot sign? So we were talking so much about this topside gameplay between Bloodbath and Beyond and Hippogriff, but maybe the real story is between the Zeri Draven. And you and I were kind of talking during this. During the break and during the analyst desk about Zeri choosing to go Ghost instead. And I know it's a little bit of a Zeri special, but I mean, against Leona, against Standy Snakes, Silas, against the Sejuani ult, I have to wonder if Cleanse might not have still been the right choice.
Yeah, there's definitely some question marks. And hey, if Toasty pops off, then we're going to say, well, yeah, probably should have. Good thing you grabbed Ghost. Something I did want to mention, both junglers are pathing were pathing originally at bottom to top, but Sejuani is here for the Snakerdoodles, looking for some early pressure to get this Draven snowball. Bush League walking up, jumps onto Rudy. Calbert is there. Flash out from Rudy. He is ignited. That's going to be first blood. That's the first blood you want on that Draven. Great start for the Snakerdoodles in this finals.
Yeah, not cashing into super much. It's just the beginning of the game, but still, you can't complain about a 30-minute first blood onto your Draven. He's going to have a pretty nice little buy when he goes back, and immediately not what you want. Zeri, not exactly a huge lane bully, especially against something like a Draven. Rudy walking up a little bit too far on the Nautilus, not respecting that level 3. Sejuani with such a fast clear.
Yeah, and on the other side, we have Caridian jumping in onto Blood. Blood is low. His flash is up. Wave had been pushed in, so he's just going to be able to walk out. So Caridian forcing him to push out, and he's going to back off. Yeah, looks like he's going to back. Probably going to have to burn his teleport. So, actually, he's going to stay. Interesting. As we see Bush League looking for a roam on I'll take mid. Probably not going to go for the tower dive. He's just going to stay up and just try to shove this in. But Caridian is roaming around. This is the 2v2 we were talking about, where Caridian and I'll take mid having the mind meld and doing incredibly well this whole season. But nothing doing. Bush League is going to go back into the bot lane.
Yeah, and we talked about Ride or Die really kind of setting the tempo in their games, but here's Snakerdoodles really coming in with that roam very early on, as that's a
lot of Gwen damage. My goodness. That's kind of the ride or die specialty right there. They love to go top to mid, and Snakerdoodles with a good scout as Blitterpath Beyond might die.
Yeah, Blood is greeting incredibly hard for some of this farm. Finally backs off. Calbert gonna back off, and Hippo gonna try to shove this in. So Blood being finally forced to use his teleport. I'll take mid going kind of low. There's the emote spam, mastery spam in this case. We'll see some emote spam later, I'm sure. And both of these mid laners kind of trading health for farm. But I'll take mid getting the better of the farm battle early as we see Caridian hovering around another 2v2. We thought it was going to be top. Looks like it's going to be a little bit of a mid focus from these junglers.
Totally. And I mean, Caridian loves that move, that top gank into mid gank coming straight there. So they call Bush early, have a good scout on it, as Calbert is now looking for a little bit deep wards, watching as David pads towards bot side and round toward mid. Honestly, middle bottom lane, Draven already with a serrated Dirk, it's going to be very difficult to fight them early.
Yeah, there's two schools of thought. They could say, well, let's keep the jungle pressure going. We're now going to play through bot side, or we just kind of leave him alone and let him bully this area. So looks like Caridian, he just likes to gank, so he may just see an opportunity. But no, it looks like he's just kind of rolling back through, finishing his bottom quadrant. And looks going to be an early plate on the side of the Draven Leona lane as Toasty and Rudy come back in. Rudy did actually follow Bush League into that mid lane roam, but was just a little bit late to the follow, as we see Calbert hovering around the mid lane once again. I'll take mid is 6. Sandy Snake is not 6, so this is a very dangerous situation for him until he hits 6. There goes the stun. I'll take mid, drops it. Sandy going passive, backing off. He knows that he needs to be super duper careful, otherwise he's going to just get popped by the Syndra ulti.
Absolutely.
Oh no, and he missed that cannon. That's rough.
At least he got the XP on that one, but he does have TP coming back, and he is now also level 6 off that cannon XP. But honestly, like, there's not a ton for the junglers to do at the moment. They're just trying to make sure that their laners are safe, and especially bot lane. I don't think there's ever a situation where Recruiting can come bot, even after hitting 6, as actually Rudy goes in.
Yeah, Rudy goes in. Bush League just getting the stun out. Rudy actually kind of paying for it. Luciv trying to get a little bit more than he originally bargained for, and he's going to have to walk away. Bush League now getting kind of down. Flash forced out from Bush. Toasty ghosting, trying to make something happen, but a lot of health traded, a couple of summoners traded, but no deaths. Luciv probably taking one more tower shot than he wanted to in that situation.
Yeah, Luciv was a little indecisive with his movement, so his axe kind of got stuck under the turret, and he kind of greeted for trying to pick both of them up. If he had let one of them drop, it might have not have been that bad, but there's the cleanse.
There's the cleanse. Ignite goes down. Luciv is low. He's probably just going to die from the last tick, but gets the kill posthumously. Rudy going down, Luciv going down as well, and Blood in a level 6 battle with Hippo. Hippo does have a level advantage, is incredibly low. Blood takes a ton of needles to the face, and Hippo could potentially dash in. Blood going for the counter push. Caridian, though, is there. Blood flashing forward in for the individual kill. Is Hippo going to survive? Yes, he will! And Caridian cleans up the Blood aggressive flash. So that is the start that Ride or Die wants in response.
I can't tell if Blood just missed his final Q or if it was because of the Shroud, but I think it was he just missed that last little Q on it, and as a result, just didn't get the kill. Yeah, he just misses it. Caridian flashes forward and saves his top laner, and this is such a spicy top lane. It is just on a nice edge, constantly in a skill matchup between Bloodbath and Beyond and Hippogriff. But meanwhile, bot lane, the sad thing was that Draven just missed out on caching. He did cleanse the root from the Nautilus, but he did not cleanse the Ignite. So as a result, he's just taking down Burning, and he does get that final kill, but only cashes in half those stacks.
Oh, because he's already dead, so
he was already dead. Yeah.
Oh, that's brutal. That's like the Draven nightmare. I got the kill, but I got none of the glory for it. As we approach the 8-minute marks, as you said, the game itself on a knife's edge, barely 200 gold. Separating these two teams. Sorry, 400 gold if you want to be. Oh, no, it's 200. Anyway, barely 200, 300 gold. 2 refillable potions, if you will, separating these teams in game 1 of the finals. The biggest difference we're seeing, especially in the CS, in the mid lane, I'll take mid, definitely getting the better of Sandy Snake in the early laning. But on the other side, Luciv, 1,000 gold lead on Toasty, and actually not that much on the side of Hippo ahead of Bloodbath and Beyond. And as we know, Cassante is Cassante. So even if he gets a little bit behind, still going to be useful. But Caridian really making sure that, as you called it, he prioritized making sure that Blood does not get out of control. And Hippo, he plays top lane like a fighting game, which is great when you're even, as we see him going in for the, dropping the needles, but not really going to go too much.
Yeah, and it's kind of an interesting situation because they're just trying to like set up for this dragon from Ride or Die. So, but TP is not available for either top lane. So at most this will be a 3v3. But it looks like Snakerdoodles are just gonna be able to give this one up.
Yeah, Snakerdoodles is just gonna give it up, and they're gonna take the Herald in response. So first Drake going down, Caridian going to secure that one for Ride or Die. Calbert soloing it on the other side, and Hippo and I'll Take Mid do both have priority. So if they call this out, they could potentially do anything. Looks like that's not going to happen. Oh, actually it might. I'll Take Mid and Caridian are heading that way. He gets long snag onto Calbert. Calbert's going to try to get away. Oh, he does get drowsy. Caridian's going to roll in. There goes the snare down onto I'll Take Mid. I'll Take Mid drops Shadow of the Weak. Is able to secure the kill, and Caridian now running for his life. Let's see if we can get a double buff transfer onto Bloodbath and Beyond. Bloodbath and Beyond does secure both those double buffs, and he's going to continue on. Sandy Snake, though, not on the same page, does go back in, finally misses the route into the dash, but now it's a 1v2 situation. I'll Take Mid kind of looking for his chance, now flipping that into a 2v1 situation. Buff transfer 2 complete, and now we have a Gwen with double buffs, kind of try to chase down, forces the flash out of Sandy Snake. So all told, Ride or Die coming out ahead on that one, and really kind of opening up this game.
Absolutely. Calbert going for that Rift Herald was a little bit slow, unfortunately, with the Sejuani. Azrael still gets hit by the ball and gets slept as a result. And he's just gone from the start of the fight. So it's kind of a 2v3, and it's kind of amazing that it even turned out into a kill. But it ends up being an extended 1v2, very extended 1v2. But I'm just not sure they can deal with the power of the Gwen right now, even with all that Cassante lifesteal.
Yeah, they need to be really, really careful around this Gwen. And it is one of those champions. Hippo is the kind of player where if he knows how to play a champion, he knows how to play a champion. And Gwen is one of those champions that he knows how to play. So you really do have to respect his ability to kind of press his buttons. Something else I did want to call out is Blood being really aggressive a couple of times, which especially, early finals, there are always going to be some nerves. Some people play more passive, some people play more aggressive. Blood is clearly someone who plays a little bit more aggressive. It's burned him twice. So I personally hope he's going to settle down a little bit and be more strategic with his aggression, because it's giving Ride or Die an edge in this game one.
Yeah, exactly. And I think one of the interesting things is really how this is translated into such a gold lead in the top side. We're seeing a 1k gold lead, but a lot of that is such a big difference in the top side. So effectively, in these 3v3 fights, it ends up being a lot more. And this Rift Tail is just kind of closed the gold lead on paper a little bit more, but once again, all of this gold lead is down toward the bot lane. So they really have to be cognizant of the fact that even though the gold is pretty close, even though the game probably feels pretty close, these gold leads are not in spots where they can necessarily fight super easily.
No, they aren't. Calbert going in, trying to get some deep vision. He does have the speed shrine, and he's just going to wait for his cooldown. Oh, they just walk away. All right. He's just going to channel.
He's fine.
All right. Cool. All right. So Calbert just hangs out for a little while. Took a vacation to the Dragon Pit. It's beautiful this time of year. 12 and a half minutes in. There is a lead on the side of Ride or Die, and Hippo definitely trying to flex his lead in this top lane. But vision control on this bot side jungle through that speed shrine. Luciv and Bush League are going to see Caridian and I'll Take Mid hovering around that. They were looking for a party in the bot lane. Luciv and Bush League says, no, you are not invited. And they're just going to continue on their demolition of this lane, because they are just pushing all day long. And it looks like they just want to accelerate this lane state and just open things up.
Well, you're looking for a lane gank.
Oh, they certainly are. And Caridian is there. 2v3 situation. Rudy going low. Luciv getting ignited again. Not going to be able to get the posthumous kill this time. And Bush League running for his life. Flash in from Caridian. Bush League trying to turn it around. But it's going to be a double kill for the Zeri. And Ride or Die cruising. And Calbert actually able to get an ulti down onto I'll Take Mid. I'll Take Mid going low. Doesn't have anything left. Flashes down, tries to get the return kill, not enough. Sandy Snake is going to get it, but a flash in from Caridian. Gonna try to take out Sandy Snake, but that massive heal from the Silas. Calbert getting credit for the kill, but a 2-for-0 situation in the mid lane, getting Snakerdoodles back into this game.
Absolutely. Really, really good look from Calbert. Knows that I'll Take Mid doesn't have that flash. Gets the early ult. Not quite the immediate follow-up, but especially with the flash, Sejuani dash right after that, are able to secure a nice easy kill. Caridian thinking he has an easy kill, but no ultimate. Crucially, flashes in, misses his Q, and isn't able to get enough follow-up damage as Sandy Snake heals up on the Sylas. And as a result, just gives Sylas a kill and Sejuani a kill to where would have been able to just cut their losses and still had flash and not get another kill.
Well, something we were talking about with this composition from the Snakerdoodles is how short range it is.
Yeah.
And the Lilia really does play into that short range, since she has to, I guess she could utilize her range and kind of hit those max range Qs, but if she's just going to sit on top of the Sylas, Sylas is going to heal all day off of it. So it's something they're going to need to be really, really careful about. As we did see Caridian, I saw Caridian actually pinging Dragon in chat. So yeah. Caridian shifting gears immediately off of that. They're going to take it. This is going to be Dragon number 2 for Ride or Die. Definitely prioritizing Dragon. Rift Herald, next Rift Herald not quite up. And yeah, Ride or Die on top of it, able to get this second Dragon and start applying that pressure, forcing Snakerdoodles to meet them for that next Drake, which is going to be setting them up for Soul Point.
Yeah, and honestly, Cloud Drake, pretty nice for them. Kind of giving some of those early buffs where, you know, you take a little bit of, you negate a little bit of that slow, you just kind of give yourself a little bit of an early advantage, building toward that Soul Point as things kind of change up. And honestly, it's going to be a big story about how these teams play around these objectives. When they set up these team fights, when they set up these kind of big set piece fights, are they going to be able to get effective flanks? Are they going to be able to just immediately go in and get a pick? What does it look like? And how is the vision set up? So big eyes on both of these supports to see what they do for their teams. But big item check, Titanic Hydra from the Zeri, but the Triforce plus Serrated Dirk from the Draven, so he has the ability, if he's able to position correctly in these fights, to just blow somebody up. Meanwhile, Sandy Snake in mid lane, just behind a little bit in gold. The full Leandry's over on to the Syndra. I'll Take Mid going for a little bit more of a control-y, understand what role he needs to play, going for picks and let his team follow up kind of build.
Yeah, the big thing here also, we haven't really talked about it, just is the scaling consideration as Calbert prioritizing Herald. It seems to be that Caridian and Calbert are saying, all right, you want Dragons? Great, I got Herald. And wanting to accelerate this game state makes sense with the Draven, but with the scaling, Snakerdoodles really needs to kind of get things moving. They do have the Sylas. Sylas scales really well, but Draven, especially in some of these late game fights, he's not going to be able to survive this Ride or Die composition. So Snakerdoodles needs to push the tempo, and it looks like they're doing exactly that, trying to get end this laning phase as quickly as possible, get us into the mid game. Bot lane already done that. Calbert, let's see where he's going to drop this Herald.
Yeah, crucially, like you're calling out the scaling factor, Sylas decided to go with that Rod of Ages build instead of more of a one-shot build, kind of leaning more into that scaling with the Draven, and they have such a front line. I can understand why he would want to go with that, but at the same time, I wonder if they quite have the damage to kind of keep up with the pace of the game. But Zeri going to tank Zeri build, he's going to be pretty tough to kill, so I think just a little bit more sustain, kind of taking a little bit of a power loan away from now and getting that back later maybe does make sense. But Jack Show from the Cassante, he's going to be doing a lot of damage and also going to be quite unkillable.
Yeah, that's massive buy, as we see almost all of the mythics online for the side of Snakerdoodles. So a couple of non-mythics as we see in the Lilia, Demonic Embrace, Caridian rolling in, trying to make something happen as we see the counter engage from Bush. Yeah, going in onto Caridian, but this is a 4v2 and Bush League just gets deleted from I'll Take Mid. Mastery spam, as is tradition, and that's just going to be a clean kill for Ride or Die.
Yeah, that was very ambitious. I know we saw it. Draven.
Oh no! There we see a hook onto the Draven. That is a low mobility carry. He is a damaged turret, but he does not take hooks lightly, and that is going to be bot lane dead for Snakerdoodles. Advantage, Ride or Die.
And that's 2 times where greeting for catching his Axis really cost him. Walking forward without flash as it's just not ending.
Oh, Rudy. Okay, he's going for it. Sandy Snake going to be able to yoink that depth charge, use it immediately onto Toasty. Blood is there trying to get the flank, but he's a little bit too late. Couple steps too slow, not able to make anything happen off of that Sylas ulti. Couple great ultis to grab, especially the depth charge for Sylas. But yeah, not quite able on the side of Snakerdoodles to make anything happen. And Ride or Die just seem to be setting the pace, setting the tempo, and really doing what they want on the macro play.
Yeah, realistically, though, I'm wondering if Gwen and Nautilus really are kind of just the best options that he has to kind of play with. None of the other ones are really that great. More scrapping up here in the top lane.
No, that's very true. Yeah, we do see scrapping, but Hippo fighting under the turret, and Blood is just going to get a solo kill, taking advantage of Hippogriff's over-aggressive positioning, drawing him in under the turret. Just a great play by him.
Yeah, man. Really kind of getting that position, especially just Casante's very... Oh my god, just doesn't end.
No, it just does not end. Calibert going in, trying to get an early engage, maybe bait some things out, but 3v2 now with Rudy joining the party. Calibert going to get deleted by I'll Take Mid. I'll Take Mid getting another execute on the Syndra. Oh, we get the dodge. There's the Drowsy onto I'll Take Mid because Sandy stole the Lilia ult. Sandy's just slap happy on I'll Take Mid while Blood disrupting into the backline. I'll Take Mid goes down. Rudy being forced to flash out. Hippo teleports into the entire team, but this is 4v4, so they could make something happen. Depth Charge goes down, pushing 3 members back. Fight is semi-split. Luciv is free swinging on the side. Health bars are going low, but there's going to be the first kill. Luciv getting it, getting that adulation. The crowd goes wild, and that's going to be a 2-for-1 in favor of the Snakerdoodles. Dragons up, so they're going to be able to also slow down the Ride or Die momentum towards Soul.
Yeah, we're really kind of seeing, despite Zeri being 4-0, really needs 2 items to fully come online. I mean, she was kind of free-firing the whole time during that fight, especially over onto the Draven, but just was not able to out-DPS what Draven was able to put out. And I mean, granted, like, that's just kind of the nature of how these teams work, and Zeri works much better in, like, more of a kite fight, where she can just walk around, constantly be peppering. But, man, what looked to be a really awful fight right at the start with Calvert getting caught a little bit, turns into such a great play with the solo laners coming in to further rescue, and then Draven eventually going in, getting a flash cash in, and really able to just dish out the DPS.
Yeah, that's something that we really need to see from them. I was shocked that the Draven was relatively untouched throughout that entire fight, despite being isolated. And to your point, right, that's a credit to this composition of the Cassante and the Silas being able to cause so much threat and so much chaos that they need to be dealt with. And because they're so tanky, it forces Ride or Die to split their focus. And so Draven just kind of hanging out. I really hope that Ride or Die makes some adjustment to their target focus next time, because they need to kill Luciv as quickly as possible. It's kind of like the Vayne rule, right? As soon as Vayne enters the fight, she must die as quickly as possible. Otherwise, you're going to have a really bad time.
Yeah, and that's just not the kind of fight that really favors them. They really don't like that just straight front to back where they don't have the ability to immediately blow up Luciv in the fight, like you said. And it's kind of to the point where, this might be... Oh, no, the cleanse. Yep, he is just fine. Although both sums down now for Draven, they have to be calling that. And I don't think there's the point to where you kind of look at what Ride or Die want to do. They need consistent damage from the Zeri, and only from the Zeri. Because I'm not sure Hippogriff is going to be enough against this Cassante.
Oh man, yeah, Blood going low against the Cassante. He's going to try to get him. He does get the shutdown, so he's clearly enough in that fight. And it's just going to be a dogpile from Ride or Die, going to knock Calbert out again. Calbert really has been their favorite target to pick things out, and they are pinging towards this Baron with top and jungle down. Massive power play for them to take this objective.
Yeah, that's a great play from Ride or Die. They knew that that the objective was up. It's 22 minutes, and so they immediately go and support this fight. Meanwhile, it's a straight 2v2 until it's not. And now Bush League is going in.
Yeah, Luciv looking for some hero. Bush League trying to buy him as much time as he possibly can. Here comes Sandy Snake, but the health bars are getting chunked down. Caridian goes down, so Smite is down. They are off the Baron at least, but there's the peppering you were talking about. Toasty gonna try to take Sandy down. Sandy going for the counter engage, but this is a 4v2. This is really tricky. Luciv, though, does not care. The odds are not in his favor, but he is going to get the kill, so it's going to be a 3-for-2 in favor of Ride or Die, but the Baron is crucially stopped.
Yeah, honestly, kind of both teams getting what they came for. They were looking for the turn, but Draven does get the cash in. Meanwhile, Zeri is really starting to pile up the damage with that rune is now available to him. And it's kind of the situation where this game has been accelerated so much from both teams that you wonder, like, it's hard to kind of tell where the power curve currently lies. Hippogriff is quite strong in this Gwen, but you saw topside, Cassante almost was able to 1v2 them until Calvert kind of came in, and then the rest of the team came in. But meanwhile, Zeri during that fight dealing out so much damage with the Rune and procs plus the Titanic Hydra. It makes it tough. It really all depends on who has the better setup, who has the better vision, and who is able to make the first move.
Yeah, well, having 8 kills on your AD certainly helps. So I'd say that Ride or Die is definitely enjoying themselves. Interestingly enough, a lot of those kills, we had seen a lot of Syndra ults going down, but I'll take mid, it not really reflecting on his kills. He has a lot of assists, but not necessarily the kills. So a ton of gold heavily placed onto Toasty, and you mentioned Toasty really starting to hit. Oh, poor Calvert. This has got to be the 4th time he's gotten caught out, but he does have buddies with him, so it is a 3v3. Bush League jumping in, trying to push Toasty back. There goes the Sejuani ult. Doesn't actually stun anybody, and Draven going to sleep, getting put into the sleeper hold, and Toasty is free firing into the back. That's going to be 2 kills. Toasty going super aggressive. That's going to be a shutdown, and Luciv just kiting as hard as he possibly can, but his teammates falling around him. And so that's going to be a 3-for-2 in favor of Ride or Die. And now Bloodbath and Neon taking that top outer. So a back and forth matchup as we're approaching the 25-minute mark. Ride or Die in the lead substantially, but these fights are getting closer and closer.
Yeah, it's kind of getting to the point where I'm not sure if I was going to be able to deal with him as he gets solo killed by Blood. But man, Toasty TG dealing so much damage, but eventually dashes over the wall straight into the face of Draven Silas and gives up a shutdown, I believe, over to Draven. So definitely not the person you want. Yeah, and now Draven with the full maw as well.
I was going to say, I really love Luciv. He seems to find a way to be so patient on Draven. Draven is not known for being an patient champion to play on. You just kind of go in and YOLO. But he does such a great job of really biding his time and waiting for that right moment where someone is low enough that he just gets the execute. Able to do that and pick up, as you said, a pretty crucial shutdown. Something we didn't mention on cast, but it happened. I said, oh, 3-for-2. Actually, it was just a solo kill. Blood actually solo killed Hippo, took the turret, and so this is where things are getting really, really nasty. I think you had mentioned it, but here comes the Dragon Dance. Just a 2-for-1, so this is setting up Soul Point. Snakerdoodles a little bit split, and Ride or Die going to try to take advantage immediately, fighting downward. Hippo diving in. Luciv gets depth charge, but he is relatively untouched. Sandy Snake trying to cause chaos into the backline. We have a 1v1, actually, Blood and Caridian fighting in there, but that turns into a 3v4. Oh no, a 2v4, and that's just going to be Ride or Die running over the bottom half of this split fight. Blood is able to secure the kill onto Caridian, but the rest of his team goes down, and now he is on the wrong side of this fight, and this is going to be a free dragon for Ride or Die, setting themselves up for Soul Point.
Man, these are the fights that Zeri just absolutely loves. She gets an early ult off and is not pressured at all, so the entire time just pressing his Q button, smashing his keyboard, and dealing so much damage. And after this next fight, he's only going to get tankier from here and only going to be doing more damage. The entire time, Draven was dishing out quite a bit of damage, but he really is the person that needs to just deal it all, frankly, on his own. Casante's on his own on the side, but Silas going in just gets kited back, has the Syndra ult, but isn't able to blow anyone up. So if Draven's not the one doing the damage, there's nobody left.
Yeah, that was really unfortunate that it seemed like the solo laners had their own agendas, right? Sandy Snake wanted to go in and disrupt, Blood wanted to isolate out Caridian, and that just left the rest of the team just as sacrificial lambs. Poor Luciv not able to do a whole lot. Hippogriff diving in and just really putting so much pressure and almost splitting that fight. So lot of good stuff on the side of Ride or Die. I'm not gonna lie, man. I thought, oh, nice job,
That's
Calvert.
what Gwen does,
Snagged
though.
that one.
Yeah, gets the rift.
Yeah, good. No, good. I love a good vision control battle. So good smite from him as we 27.5 minutes. Ride or Die in the driver's seat. I'm not gonna lie. On paper, I thought Snakerdoodles was gonna really kind of run this series over, or at least kind of get ahead on this. I have been pleasantly surprised with Ride or Die really coming in with a game plan and doing what they need to do to make sure that Snakerdoodles just can't play the way they want to play.
And I think Ride or Die is a collection of such mechanically skilled players that they're really able to demonstrate it on comps like this. You kind of look at what Toasty TG is doing on the Zeri. You look at what Caridian is doing, especially with the Swirl Seed hits. The man, I don't know if he has missed a single Swirl Seed this game. It's just every time he throws it, he is just hitting somebody with it. And obviously, I'll take mid. Kind of been the star of the season, no matter what pick he picks. I think this is the kind of comp that lends itself to that kind of skill difference play, where you are kind of pigeonholed into just front to backing. You are pigeonholed into just engaging and killing one person. You have the kind of the ability to play the map.
Yeah, there's a lot of flexibility and a lot of mobility on this ride or die squad. They have a lot of options, and we were talking about that with the Draven pick as well, where there's a lot of beef, there's a lot of disruption, there's a lot of cool things that Snakerdoodles can do. But one of the things they are a little bit light on is damage, especially when Silas goes a little bit more of a bruiser build. So they still absolutely have opportunities to kind of turn this game around. They are very, very hard to kill. But
and let's not get it twisted. Draven is 5 items. He is enormous.
Oh yeah, he's big.
If he has the ability to just kind of free fire, kind of much like he did during that bot fight, he's going to be able to take over the game. But both the jungler and the AD carry, and now Silas have based. This might be a free Baron.
Yeah, this is a free Baron. Oh
no.
That's just such a miscommunication from the side of Snakerdoodles. Yeah, walking away. It's sunk cost theory at this point, y'all. Just walk away and understand, we probably messed that one up a little bit.
Oh my
needed
gosh.
to get some vision earlier. Maybe a little bit lackadaisical in their backs and in their reset timing. And Ride or Die jumps all over it. And this is something we've seen from Peridian all season. And not just this season, but even in last season when he was really the star of his team on the jungle side. Able to kind of make things happen and make those macro calls and timings that set his team up as we approach that magical 30-minute mark. 5,000 gold lead from Ride or Die, potentially looking to set up a split push situation with the Gwen and leverage this Baron power play into even more.
Exactly, and actually the Baron power play on the Gwen is super strong. However, we do see Bloodbath and Beyond building the Anathema's chains. I'm have to imagine he has that over onto the Gwen. So if we could get a quick clock check on that. But yes, ultimately, I think you kind of look at it. Yes, it does seem to be. No, it's on Zeri. It's on Zeri.
No, it is not on the Gwen. Yeah, it's on the Zeri.
There it is. Yeah, which makes sense. That makes more sense, actually. But I think more than anything, the team getting with Soul Point getting a free Baron just accelerates the game in such a way as that's a big swirl seed.
Yeah, no, it is a monster swirl seed. Sandy actually matching Hippo. Nowadays in this split push situation, double teleport as we see a siege coming down middle inner turret and a continued siege down into middle inhibitor turret. Blood is going to try to split push to try to split the focus. They're just ignoring him completely, trying to make sure that they take down this middle inhibitor turret and crack the base open. The base is cracked, and Ride or Die not going to press their luck. They're going to back off. Dragon is coming up shortly, so they're going to want to try to set themselves up for that soul point, but that middle inhibitor looking mighty juicy right about now for Ride or Die as the Dragon spawns. Look at that timing.
Yeah, and that's generally the calculation you have to make. When you leave up the Baron, you know that at least one inhibitor turret is going to be gone. Frankly, just lucky they didn't have to give him the inhibitor. That's only because the other team is going back to get the Dragon's Soul, and this might just be game right here unless Calbert's able to steal it.
Yeah, Calbert angling himself for the steal. He's going to go with the steal. He gets a great Sejuani ult, maybe paying for this with his life. However, Blood actually teleports into the pit. The rest of the team, though, is not in position. There's that short range really working against them, and somehow Blood and Calbert are able to get out alive. Death to the Century. Oh no, spoke too soon. And here comes the engage, counter engage from Ride or Die. Ride or Die rolling in. They want that back to front. Bush League diving into the backline, but this could actually be the fight that Snakerdoodles have been looking for. All take mid, running for his life. Gets rooted. He's going to go down. That's going to be an ultra. Could that be a penta? Not a penta, Blood, you troll. Wow, what a play. Elusive free swinging in the backline, and Snakerdoodles steal not just the Dragon, but the fight and potentially the game.
We thought Blood was too deep, but he is Cassante. Ults Hippogriff back over the wall. Hippogriff continues the fight, goes a little bit too deep, and the rest of Snakerdoodles, who we thought were going to just get out after stealing the free Drake, just turn around, re-engage immediately. There's that Draven, almost 6 items, blowing up Hippogriff immediately, turning into a Quadra, turning into Penta, but still an incredible play from Snakerdoodles as they take this game 1.
Wow, game. Well, okay, hold up. There's. We've seen this movie before. To see that Nexus go down. Okay, there it goes. Game 1 going to the Snakerdoodles. What a turnaround on a game that Ride or Die pretty much had.
Wow.
You were like, oh, they're probably going to win this game. And Snakerdoodles says, No.
Yeah, what a turn on its head. Hippogriff just going a tad bit too deep, but man, they were in the driver's seat. They had the free Baron. They made such a great macro play, pushed up their waves, had Hippogriff top lane, pushing in top lane, takes the middle inhib. They're like, oh, great, we'll take a free soul. Go back, and turns out it is not a free soul, and it is not a free game. Snakerdoodles absolutely dominating the team fight and take game 1.
Wow. What if that's an indication of this series? This is gonna be a fun one.
I'm so excited.
Yeah, so we're gonna take a quick breather and we're gonna hand it off to T-Skull and Rioklu on the analyst desk to break down what just happened. Take it away, y'all.
Alrighty, exciting game 1 we had there, Rioklu.
For sure.
We had some popping off all over the map here. But let's go back to the beginning of the game here just a little bit and start off with that Calbert first gank into the bot lane, kind of setting up that Draven and helping him try to get ahead. What did you see there to that really allowed the Draven to get that first kill there?
Yeah, I mean, I think Halbert just, path correctly. They probably assumed, or they tried to manipulate the wave I saw to stay at the midpoint. So they just kind of kept it there, and then Halbert just came in, did his gank thing, and yeah, they killed Rudy. I guess they assumed they were like, oh, let Rudy hook. We'll just get him when he goes in. So
And we saw that a couple of times throughout that bot lane. There was even when I think there was a part just a little bit later where the Draven took a few tower shots and then Rudy went to engage again, but Calbert was there again to, the Draven went down, but they still got a kill back onto Rudy, and the Draven didn't get to cash in his stacks, but I know the casters talked about how that's a sad face for the Draven, but it did get him another kill and really kept that bot lane a little bit volatile. But then it started to move a little bit around the map. They did get that early dragon because Calbert then tried to start going topside because Hippogriff, a little bit of a surprise, had quite an early bit of pressure onto that Cassante there. Had him really low. Calbert needed to go and cover because Caridian was looking up there. And it led to some fighting up in that area up there, but nothing really came of it. Allowed Caridian then to go down and get that dragon, and they split that rift for first dragon. But then they caught the Calbert trying to get out of there, and that really kind of sprayed the lead forward. What did you see there in that skirmish with all 3 topside champions from both sides just in that fight, just moving buffs around?
yeah, no, it was crazy. Like, I'm honestly very impressed in general how, the top mid jungle side of both teams responded to each other. And really playing off of their laners, specifically the junglers. So, I mean, it was just really exciting to see that, in Hippogriff doing really, really well in the early game. Usually I think Hippo tends to overtrade and he gets heavily punished. But this game he kept it pretty consistent, and we saw that Caridian really helped in trying to keep blood in his cage. So
Yeah, and we saw both Caridian and Calbert really covering their lanes really well. Whenever there was a fight, it always extended into multiple people, multiple lanes getting involved, whether it was the jungle giving enough time for the mid laners to come down or just 3v3 fights all over the place. But one thing I want to talk about is this Zeri and how Toasty didn't get tilted from that Draven getting that early lead. He came back and he was 4-0 at one point. He was 8-0 at one point. What did you see from Toasty in this game to allow him to get to that point, even though that Draven had that quick early lead?
yeah, no, I mean, I think, he played to his strength. Draven is an AD carry that wants to all in, especially in the early to mid game, get that really heavy spike damage, and then Zeri's the one that wants to kite back. So I think he played it very patiently, waited appropriately for cooldowns, and went in and did his damage where he could. So he just was patient and positioned very well.
Yeah. And then I think it allowed they had that topside lead after that first Rift Herald fight. Ceridian brought it down, and they were able to then get that Zeri a little bit of a lead there. And I think Ceridian really fastened the pace of the game at that point to really just start moving around the map, taking objectives. They stacked up those dragons early. They had 2 dragons by, I think it was before the 20-minute mark, so pretty quick there. And then the 3rd dragon was taken by Snek, but there was just a lot of river fights that we got to see there that really were started by Ceridian getting those seeds and then starting an ult onto Calbert, onto the Leona. We saw Ceridian get a mid lane gank into a Nautilus hook onto the Draven under tower, getting that mid lane tower. What did we see from Ceridian there that allowed him to kind of extend that pace so quickly? Were they just out of position? Were they not with enough of their teammates? How does Snek need to do something different to kind of get those objectives earlier?
Yeah. No, I definitely think there were some miscommunication answers. You could definitely tell based on how they were moving. So just wrapping up that communication, keeping it tight and making sure they're on the same page, and I think they'll be able to be more effective and sufficient that way.
Yeah, I agree. A little bit more communication, a little bit slower pace to allow them to scale, but I think we're sending it back to the casters at this point to get into the draft of Game 2.
Mm-hmm.
Alrighty, thank you so much, T-Skull and Rioklu, for that analysis. And yeah, what a game 1 ended on Ride or Die's namesake. They rode and they died. And we were talking about how, you really that's just what they do, and they're gonna win or lose on it. And it's also something that Snakerdoodles, knowing that, can kind of mercilessly exploit. So we've got some kind of meta mind games going on where it's not just about pressing your buttons at the right time. It's not just about picking the right champions. It's about knowing your opponents, and these players all know each other incredibly well. So there's definitely some fun mind games going on as we go into Game 2. But yeah, Box, what do you think? Based on what we saw from Game 1, going into Game 2 is going to be the biggest adjustment.
Yeah, I think I have to wonder if Ride or Die, like you said, the name could not be more appropriate, but up until they lost, they were winning. So the old Dignitas special, except they didn't throw out Baron, they threw around Dragon. So it's something to where it looked like up until that point, they were out macroing, they were out team fighting, and they had a not insignificant gold lead, like a decent gold lead. So I wonder if they can learn to temper that aggression, or if that is so ingrained in their identity that is just who they are. Or maybe it's the point where that really plays in their favor in certain fights. But I mean, it looks like you said, Snakerdoodles understood the assignment. They understood that when Hippogriff went in with the Gwen, he overextended a little bit because Blood was able to put him in such a good position. They were able to just collapse on that and turn what looked like a lost game into a win one.
Yeah, and it looks like the bans aren't really changing a whole lot. Echo Diana, Zach Trundle. Looking at champs, I'm not sure if there was any one champion that kind of ran over the game. The Zeri was definitely a problem.
Yeah, for sure.
Toasty was definitely a problem on Zeri, and that's something that we've heard and talked about of, Toasty's pool specifically. It's like, oh, if you take him off Xayah, if you take him off now Zeri, what else does he have? Is he comfortable on other ADs? Of course, this is also the same person that people have been underestimating since the beginning of time. So maybe not the right analysis to do that, but it looks like no changes to the bans at all. No changes to first pick. Looks like they might just go for a re-rack. They were happy with what they got, and they're just going to go do it again.
1 for 1. Like you said, Leona for Nautilus supports first picked. I wonder if we're going to get the same thing in the next phase. Same band, same picks. I have to imagine Ride or Die were pretty happy with how the game was going up until that point. So I wouldn't be surprised if both teams were like, hey, we're okay with this. You take your comfort, we'll take our comfort. We know exactly what to do. You probably know what we're going to do, but we're going to do it anyways. So it's something that both teams, we've all been playing together for so long. Both teams know each other so well. Definitely very, very close friends on both sides of the, as we say that, the Viego. And that is a very exciting pick. Pairs well with the Nautilus, pairs well with maybe some sort of aggressive mid laner or top laner.
Yeah, and it just brings such a different... It brings a different flavor to the equation from the Lilia. Although, Caridian, really strong Lilia player. We see the Sejuani hover on Calbert. Calbert, very comfortable on those tanky engagers. Might be a Sejuani. Could be a Rammus angle. Let's go with the Rammus angle. Sounds great. But you know what the great thing is? Zeri can't actually do anything if she's taunted and then dead. So I really actually love the Rammus pick from Calbert. There is always a little bit of a risk in terms of, scaling. He can potentially fall off, not be as effective, although I think with some of the changes, he's definitely better.
Yep, and there's the elusive Ezreal. I was wondering if we were going to see that last game, but deciding to bust it out this time, making sure that they give their solo laners a little bit of a chance to see what's coming at them.
Whoa.
Toasty TG Vayne. He's one of the few people that has actually busted it out within the realm of TCL, and someone he's played Vayne a lot. He definitely knows what he's doing. He's very mechanically sound on the champion, and they know what they need to do against something like Leona. That's a great pick. You condemning Leona away out of the root, letting Nautilus look for some sort of hook so he can play safely. But it's something where if the Rammus is able to get onto him from the side, it's not necessarily a win. Vayne is a little bit harder to kill. Vayne has the ability to just tumble out with invisibility. That it's something that they really have to set it up well.
Yeah, and this Vayne had better pick cleanse against the Rammus. I would expect to see a cleanse out of
I think so, yeah.
Probably not going to grab Ghost for this one. As we see the second wave of bans, Jax and Azir aimed at the solo laners, and then Yone and actually a Sylas being banned away from I'll Take Mid. I'll Take Mid opting out of grabbing the Syndra before the second wave of bans. We see the Twitch hover. That's not going to happen. Let's see what you're actually grabbing. Oh, the Ahri.
Okay. That's something, Ahri can charm Rammus out of his ball. Something that's really good for pick. It's a little bit tougher to play into someone like Ezreal, especially if Ezreal takes something like Cleanse. Ezreal's just so shifty that Ahri has a little bit of a harder time getting up on top of him, especially with something like Leona or Rammus sitting on top of himself. But, I hope so. This is a Sandy Snake original. He is so good on this champion and scales so well. We saw it in the highlight reel. We've seen him play it so many times, and there it is. Yes, I love to see that.
Okay, yeah, and he may have been waiting to see. I'm a little surprised that I'll Take Mid didn't hold the pick and force Sandy to blind it and potentially grab the Syndra, because Syndra against Aurelion Sol, that's just a bad time for Aurelion Sol. We see Blood with the Renekton hover, the blind Renekton hover potentially going into the Gwen. So, yeah. Absolutely. Could be. Yep. Great pick. Yep. He's one of his favorite champions. And it's probably going to be the Gwen for Hippo again, unless he's going to grab the Darius. One of the two.
Yeah. And something we didn't actually talk about was the fact that both teams decided to stay on the same side. Actually, with Ride or Die having side selection, choosing that red side, really wanted to save that top lane for last pick. That's why they went with the Ahri phase 4. They really wanted to make sure that Hippogriff had his pick of choice, and it looks like that pick of choice is going to be Camille. Oh, nope, Darius last second. That's more of a Hippo champ. Yep.
Yeah, it's a fun matchup too. The Darius Renekton matchup is definitely a skill matchup. So if you're gonna take, and Darius is one of Hippo's best champions, I'm sure he's played against a million Renektons, so he's very familiar with the pick. I've actually labbed this with Blood, and it's very tricky. It's definitely kind of a razor's edge matchup and the Darius will definitely get ahead, right? The Renekton needs to get that level 3, but level 1, 2, he has to play a little bit cautious. So definitely could snowball in Darius's favor very quickly. Probably going to see the same kind of volatility bottom to top that we saw in game 1 as well.
Yeah, but we do see a little bit of an awkward team comp from Ride or Die. Darius, Viego, Ahri, kind of a strong earlier on, has the ability to definitely make plays, but as the game scales, they need Vayne to start carrying super hard, because I'm not sure how they play these team fights super effectively. Meanwhile, the side of Snakerdoodles has a very clear objective. It's honestly pretty similar to what they did last time.
Yeah, it's very simple. We kill the Vayne. So, Box, who do you think is going to take this before we hand it off to the analyst desk?
Man, I'm going to go with Snakerdoodles again, but I really love what Ride or Die has done. I just think their comp is so fun.
Yeah, their comp definitely is fun, and it has some serious snowball potential. We'll have to see if the analysts agree. We'll hand it off to T-Skull and Rioklu.
Alrighty, welcome back to the analyst desk. That was a surprising draft we saw there. We got lots of scaling on both sides with the Vayne on one side and then the Aurelion Sol on the other. I really want to touch on that top lane matchup though, because it seems like it's going to be pretty volatile early. I know you're not much of a top laner, but what do you think is going to happen there?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not much, as you know, I'm not much of a top laner, but I would think Renekton wins that. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it'll be a bit of a skill matchup whether the Renekton can get out of the Darius pull, how he uses his dash appropriately. It'll be interesting to see. We know Blood is very good on any champion he picks, so but Hippo did have the lead last time, so. But the other one part I want to hit is this Aurelion Sol in the mid lane. How is he going to have the time to scale up with this Viego that's going to want to run around the map trying to get early kills, get ahead, and reset?
Yeah, I mean, Sandy just has to play careful. I don't think he should. He's just looking to farm and scale, right? So.
Yeah. And that's his play style, so it'll be,
he's
be very interesting to see. So, comp-wise, who do you think's taking game 2?
Honestly, I do not like Ride or Die's comp. I think, like, you know, it's really hard to execute, and it's just like not very cohesive. I think they have a lot of off potential between the different characters. Aside from that, it's like, I don't know. It's really difficult to say, and they all have to do really well individually.
Yeah, I do agree with you on that point. It'll be interesting to see whether that Vayne can take over late, or whether the Viego and Darius can snowball forward fast enough. And then they have those 3 reset champions where if Viego and Darius and that Ahri are just all resetting, getting their ultimates to keep going, it should be a real pop-off moment. But I don't know that the Snakerdoodles will let that happen as well. So it should be an interesting game 2 here. So let's send it back to the casters. So Box and Jaws, take us away.
Then. All right. Thank you so much, T-Skull and Rioklu, for that analysis. We are into the loading screen, and Box, we were kind of talking about this, about the comp and some of the strengths and some of the weaknesses, but the real big thing that we were calling out is there's not a whole lot of security detail on this Vayne, right? This Vayne is, and Rudy is not known, he can peel, right? But he just loves to fight, and he loves to engage, and he loves to kind of push the tempo, and that is their style. So I don't really see him saving his skills for the inevitability of the Vayne getting jumped on. I think he's just going to be like, all right, Toasty, do your thing, which does scare me a little bit on this Ride or Die comp. And so I'm definitely giving the edge to Snakerdoodles to potentially take this to a 2-0.
And it would be a Ride or Die comp if it didn't look like this, let's be honest. This is something where they do kind of put Toasty at TG on something and say, okay, have fun. Have a good time. And then, but it is especially hard to play Vayne into something like the Aurelion Sol. Aurelion Sol places his big zone down, just doesn't quite, and it very much limits what Vayne is able to do. Within a team fight, he has to maybe walk around, get slowed down, especially if he decides to go for something like a Rylai's. It makes it so much harder for Vayne because all of a sudden he's narrowed down. Hyper mobility AD carry wants space to move to kind of play his game, but Aurelion Sol shrinks where you can do that. And so if, nice little level 1, but I don't think it's going to go anywhere. But unless they decide to stay until Blood comes back.
Yeah, I think they're, they're doing the J turn.
Yep, there they are. And Blood has no idea. They're going to go for it.
Oh yeah, they certainly are. So we see the 5 point, and they're going to go for it. Oh no, Rudy misses it.
Oh, he needed the flash. Rudy should go for the flash
there
hook.
we go. That's the disrespect we're looking for here. Yeah, you deserve that one. Sorry, buddy. Rudy's gonna be like, biased cast.
Yeah, if he walked out of the bush and gave Blood enough time to react. If he had flashed out of the bush and gone for the hook immediately, I think they might have been able to force a flash out of Bloodbath and Beyond as well.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. Could have given Hippogriff a massive advantage. He did actually go both top laners, something we didn't mention. Both top laners going spicy combat. We got an Ignite on the Bloodbath and Beyond Renekton. We got a Ghost on the Hippogriff Darius. So we are going to see some giga fireworks as we settle ourselves into the laning phase. We've got top to bottom for Viego. So Viego's going to try to be playing through bot lane, get that bot lane going. And we've got Ramy Boy going starting on the bot side, so maybe going for an early bot lane gank, but he's certainly going to be eventually pathing into that top side. So yeah, expect some serious stuff going into the top lane as we see. Yeah, I'll take mid. That's what we're going to be seeing from mid lane, is I'll take mid, just trying to abuse Aurelion Sol, because Sandy Snake, tick tock, he hits level 9. We got some problems.
Yeah, and realistically, I kind of agree with the both double combat summoners coming out from the top laners, because last game it was just so scrappy. We didn't see these kind of set pieces where we need the top laners in the side lanes pushing and then TPing into any sort of objective fight. It was certainly a situation where everything was kind of centered around big picks, big fights, or everyone already being there because things were so explosive. So looking for the lane power, looking for the ability to immediately just go on the enemy team and just get a quick kill is maybe what should be prioritized. So I can understand where both top laners were thinking. But across the map, like you said, it's kind of a very timery focus with the Aurelion Sol, and the Rammus kind of scaling up against something like the Viego. The longer this goes on, the harder this is going to be for Viego to get a reset on any champion.
Yeah, and Blood getting some really nasty early slaps. Yeah, and Hippo crucially not landing that Q, and that's really where he's going to potentially win. But Blood has that Ignite, so he's setting himself up. Now that he's level 3, setting himself up, he's going to get the Fury, going to want to fight in the minion wave and get himself not only the sustain, but get himself up potentially for the Ignite kill. And he's Renekton. He can potentially tower dive with the Slice and Dice.
Yeah, absolutely. Hippogriff does have both Flash and Ghost. So the extra mobility might dissuade Renekton a tiny bit, but nice little CS lead already starting to build up as the wave starts to crash, as things are generally even otherwise across the board. Aurelion Sol just trying to play safe, making sure I'll Take Mid does not get accelerated, as we've seen happen so many times over this course of this season.
Yeah, it's so true. We're just starting into things, right? People aren't even level 4 yet. We did see that Bush League and Elusive getting priority in lane, getting that brush control with the early level 2, and they really haven't let it go, letting the wave start to kind of slow push back towards them. We see the Viego doing a little bit of counter jungling with the help of I'll Take Mid, and he's walking through, but he's gonna he's not actually gonna walk
coming
through. He is in a situation to potentially make something happen, but he is gonna start his back.
Yeah, the wave's crashing really, and it's so hard to gank something like an Ezreal, and Bloodbath and Beyond's going in.
Oh yeah, he certainly is. Flash going in. There's the Ignite. There's the first blood. Little tragic. Calibur taking credit for the kill, but you know what? A kill is a kill is a kill, and they're going to be able to deny the cannon wave. So that's pretty solid.
That's huge.
For Blood, able to stop this Darius in his tracks. That being said, we've seen Hippo go 0-4 in lane and then have one good fight. So he's down a little bit now, but certainly not out in this game.
Absolutely. Yes, we see the huge longsword buy coming out from Renekton, but I want to call out really well played from Calibur. Not giving Hippogriff a chance to heal at all, flashing in, getting the taunt, chaining his CC perfectly with the Renekton Sun, and making sure that he just dies and doesn't get a chance to live. In that situation, you just make sure that Darius doesn't have a chance to turn and stack up.
Yeah, that's great play by Calibur. We had mentioned that's going to be the snowball. We expected especially having seen the Ignite, we're like, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Rammus is probably going to run through. We're going to likely expect a repeat gank. Darius actually no summoners burned, so does have summoner advantage on Bloodbath and Beyond. May be able to take advantage of that. Calibur now in the bot lane, doing a little sweeper action as Hippo and Blood are actually just rolling in. There's the Ignite and full stacks for Hippo. And he's just going to make Blood bleed to death, taking full advantage of that Ghost. And they just sat there and hit each other for a while. And Blood, as soon as he gets the advantage, he gives it right back.
Yeah, and Steve, you called it. Hippo, definitely the kind of person that doesn't let something like that gank rattle him, immediately goes back and knows what's up, goes for the kill over onto the Renekton with the Sheen. Such a deceptive power spike that you just cannot let Darius get that kind of advantage on you, especially when you don't have summoners. So Blood giving the gold right back, and that is a very large wave. Fortunately, he looks like he's going to be able to get back for most of it.
Yeah, he is, but he's going to cede at least 2 plates if not, I believe it's 2 plates. I'll have to wait to see on the mini-map. Judging by the health bar, it looks like it's about 2, so that's a nice little lead for Hippogriff coming back, and also he got credit for the kill, whereas Calvert, as we see, actually Push League rolling in Condemn from Toasty, pushing him back, so nothing doing, but the poke is just abusive, but Caridian potentially going to be able to take advantage of this. Flash hook lands onto Luciv. Luciv flashes it's the return kill, so a 1-for-1 AD for AD. Luciv smells what Caridian was cooking and says, no siree, I will take you down with me.
Oh my goodness, Luciv burning his E early, should have been dead to rights, but goes for a nice little play on Toasty TG, but Toasty flashes forward as a result, gets hit by the last Ezreal Q and gives a kill over to Ezreal. If he had been able to back up, that would have just been a free kill, but no, instead it's a 1-for-1 in a gank situation, and now it is a setup on the drag.
Yeah, great setup for Snakerdoodles, and Luciv definitely taking advantage, and we look at the CS advantage, he's definitely got it. And you were talking before about just how abusive this Leona Ezreal lane is. The only reason Luciv was able to get away with that was because of the poke that they were layering down onto Toasty and Rudy. That really kind of forced Caridian to do something about it. And Luciv and Bush having the lane start to slow push back towards them, doing a great job of wave management, making sure that they're creating enough neutral situations where the poke can come down. Caridian grabbing that red buff and pathing back towards top once again. There is a clear win condition, and being able to play through Hippogriff, we've been on the receiving end of it. Many people have. That Hippogriff Darius, he gets moving. He can absolutely carry this game. And Renekton, we're talking about positive timers. Renekton's on a bit of a negative timer, as we see Hippo jumping on a blood, trying to make something happen, getting a nice Q, chunking him down with that bleed. But yeah, Renekton on a bit of a negative timer, as we see Calvert hovering around the spot lane.
Yeah, that Ninja Tabby's on Darius really doing work against this Renekton with only the serrated Dirk. Sheen, Dorn's Shield plus the Tabbies means that every trade ends up looking a little advantageous for him. But you said it down here in the bot lane. The side of Snakerdoodles doing a great job with wave management, constantly keeping it where they need it. And Toasty TG with the cleanse does have the ability to safety, but doesn't have a ton else as top lane with action.
Yeah, there's an all-in. Ignite going down. Oh, is he going to get it? No, he's going to get away. Oh, that is rough. We see in the bot side, actually, an engage from Calvert. Calvert, he was back and he's sticking around. Now he's going to go for the tower dive. Going to try to tank for his
Excellent
team.
job.
Great tanking, good rotations. Oh, look at that. Oh, he's textbook. Absolutely textbook. Looks like Calvert watched that video. Textbook from him. As we see a 1v2 situation. Oh my god, Blood. Is Blood going to potentially get a double kill on this? Yes, he is. 2-for-1. Blood being a beast, and the wave has crashed. I'll take mid is going to be able to reset the wave, but Blood being hyper aggressive and this time paying off with a double kill.
What a play across the map from Snakerdoodles, just wins in the bot lane, going for a nice gank over onto the Vayne plus the Nautilus and a textbook dive. You called it. They knew they could go for it. Calvert tanking as much as he could and trading off the aggro perfectly. But meanwhile, top lane, we all know what's up. It's Bloodbath and Beyond in a 1v2 Hippogriff versus Caridian, and they do not win those because Hippogriff already low HP from that earlier trade. Ignite doesn't matter, goes for the all-in, but has forced the player on the outside. Meanwhile, Viego does not win a 1v1 against Renekton, and they lose the 1v2 and give more kills over.
Yeah. Oh, that's rough. And Blood actually going for the first item Eclipse. So he's going for Burst City. As we see the Dragon being started on Ride or Die, they have been prioritizing Dragon so far in this series. Calvert opting towards the Rift Herald. We see a couple of pings going down in the top side.
Late.
Yeah, first Dragon going to Ride or Die. And I'd love to see their win condition come to fruition because it was their death knell in game one.
Yeah, Calvert really late on the rotation to this Rift Herald, but I don't think it really matters. Ultimately, they do have lane strength, and Caridian is down here in the bottom lane, so they weren't quite aware of whether the situation was that it was going, but now they do. They know that he's going to be starting over onto it now, but Caridian's looking for a lane gank. I'm not sure they can do it. Luciv does have heal, and he's Ezreal, but they are nonetheless going to try. Ooh, nice poke from Luciv.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't know if they could do it simply because Rudy just took about four Ezreal Qs to the face. So I don't know if that's going to be happening, but yeah, and looks like Caridian's backing off.
Oh my goodness, it just does
Rudy,
not stop.
Rudy, stop!
They're trying to bait Luciv into E-ing in, especially on Ezreal. That is just a death knell. They just cannot make sure.
What? play by Luciv. It's still going to be a 2v2, but the support is dead, and Toasty is soon to follow. One more auto is going to do it. That's going to be a double, probably going to be a triple. Caridian jumping in, trying to get the kill off. Does get the grab, and he is now Ezreal, and Bush League is running for his life. So great turnaround from Caridian getting a double. So 2 for 2, Caridian, the last one standing.
Oh my god, really Caridian saving that play in what was probably just absolutely doomed, but Rudy taking so much poke, dies without being able to throw any skill shots or any abilities out. Still has both Flash and Ignite. Maybe if he gets those down, it looks a little bit different. But Vayne, in the 2v2, does a decent amount of damage, but it's really Caridian flashing back forward.
Oh no, and in the top lane, we see the Ignite not gonna do it. Blood cannot buy a final Ignite tick. He's gonna be able to Hippo's just going to be able to get away, but it looks like he's going to pay for it with the top lane turret. So top lane being accelerated massively, exactly what this Renekton wants, as we see Caridian grabbing some chickens from Calvert, gets a big chicken, leaves a couple of the babies. How cruel can you be? Charm lands onto Bush League in the roam. Calvert is there for the potential counter gank, but... Oh, wow, he's still going to... Oh. Okay, I guess he's going to go for it. He is not going to go for it, but depth charts in the bot lane. Luciv in a 1v2, he really doesn't care. He's just thoroughly enjoying the free targets because Toasty and Rudy are just
the solo kill.
Yep, as all take mid, ride or die, just thoroughly loving a fight, and we can't even keep track of all the action because I'll take mid, solo kills Aurelion Sol, while Luciv gets engaged on, while Blood fights Hippo. That's what just happened, folks. Retro goes down bot lane.
This is absolutely insane. Like you said, mid lane, the solo kill over onto from I'll take mid onto Sandy Snake doesn't have ulti. I was going to call that out earlier, but it looks like he just flash charmed him, went for the all-in, and was able to secure a kill. No ignite needed because he has TP. Meanwhile, bot lane, both sub sports out of Toasty TG and ahead of this Rift Herald play. And man, that's a bad situation to be in as Vayne, especially as Dragon starts to come up very, very soon. But still, getting out of the play, not giving up another kill over to Luciv still doesn't look too bad, but it's just action across the map as already no top lane, so things are just going to get even more explosive. Man, this is so much fun to watch.
Yeah, this is pretty wild. Caridian in the bot lane once again. He's just pitching a tent in this lane, trying to make something happen. He just wants to just apply some kind of pressure as we see a pause going out. It looks like we have a little bit of lag, but we get to take a pause, we get to take a breath, and I get to take a drink. Tell us what's going on.
I mean, it's something where, like you said, Caridian definitely setting up a tent down here, but one of the cool things that Viego is able to do is as soon as he places his Shroud, you have to respect the threat of where Viego is. It's kind of like an Akali situation where as soon as she places her Shroud down, everyone has to be aware. Like, pop your sweepers, pop whatever you have, and make sure, whatever AoE you have, and make sure that you are cognizant of where that Akali is moving around. It's kind of a similar situation, especially coming into the early game on the Viego. As soon as you see that Shroud going around, you have to respect that. It's kind of like Nocturnal in a way. But meanwhile, bot lane, Toasty TG trying to get caught up on the Vayne. He's behind, don't get me wrong, but he's definitely not in a situation where he can't get accelerated back into position to play the game. But a decent CS lead looking into the mid lane, decent CS lead looking into the jungle, but it's really the story of this top lane. You look at what's happening in this Renekton. Renekton already has a turret, gave up 2 plates, in that one play where he died solo, but ultimately he is so strong that I totally see his ability to just be able to go into the back lane and assassinate this Vayne.
Yeah, and it looks like that's exactly what he's building for. And if we take a look at the gold, he's got a pretty commanding lead so far in his 1v1 matchup. If we could jump to, I'm looking at it on the spectate, but if we could jump to the gold real quick, we see that Renekton, he's got about, I would say 1,500 and change. Yeah, about, there we are. All right, about 1,700. It's definitely showing in that eclipse and in the most recent duels, really showing where him able to just kind of cut through the Darius, who doesn't really have much in terms of survivability. He's got the Kindle gem, so he's just got health, which Eclipse loves because Eclipse will just cut through that. And then looking kind of down the way, Luciv, absolutely massive on Ezreal. I mean,
1,500.
Let's real. How many times have we seen Luciv on Ezreal doing this kind of stuff? Poor Rudy, he needs to put on his dancing shoes because he just keeps eating Qs, and it's just setting up a bit of a bully situation for Luciv.
This is actually the Luciv classic. This was what he kind of always turned to in season 1 when he wanted a champion that he could do consistent damage on and really put his team in as good a position to succeed as possible. So it's something where, like, I've kind of been waiting this entire time to see when he's going to bust it out, and it looks like now is the time, and it's certainly paying off.
Yeah, absolutely. And just like that, play is going to resume. Probably going to have a little bit of a visual bug as we get going.
Maybe.
Oh, I see
We
play
shall see.
resuming. So we'll see. In the meantime, the
Yeah.
producer is going to give us all motion sickness.
Yeah. How far can you zoom out?
All right, we're back in it. So
Can you
yeah,
capture the entire map?
yeah, exactly. We will now be watching hyper macro general 4-star general League of Legends. It's going to be great. But yeah, Toasty and Rudy doing their best to kind of push in. Two plates left. Plating's about to drop on the side.
Man,
on the
it does
bot
not
side.
feel that
Top
early.
lane, right? Top lane's down. The only place where there's a pretty large advantage is I'll take mid, but that's something that we saw and that we expected, where it's I'll take mid is kind of that nuclear warhead that if he goes off, right, he's just going to deal absolute chaos. Sandy Snake, bit of more of a slow burn, right? He's a ticking time bomb. But he's starting to get to that point. He's level 10. He's just kind of instant clearing those waves. And so, yeah, 2 to 3 plates, no problem. Plating's down, and now Sandy Snake, we're going to see what an ace-hole he is.
Yeah, crucially, Sandy Snake does have his empowered ultimate just in time for this dragon. Got enough stacks from that last wave. So we're going to see what kind of plays he's going to be able to make happen. They're in a situation where the game has just felt so fast that Brilliant Soul, I'm wondering how much damage he's going to be able to do in this next team fight. Or if they just want to give themselves a little bit more of a chance to kind of wait it out a little bit more, kind of like they did last game. But Hippogriff getting some time on this top tower, looking like they really want to rotate around and secure this Drake. Do not let the fact that Ride or Die have the first one dictate the rest of the flow of the game.
Yeah, and looks like Bot Outer is just going to go down. Blood potentially getting caught out in his own jungle. I see that's a 1v2 solo kill for Bloodbath and Beyond. Gets out with his life. There's the mastery spam. I salute you, sir. Love me some good Renekton play. Smite is down. This should be a free dragon for the Snakerdoodles.
And Gradient say goodbye to your blue buff. On the other side of the map, Bloodbath and Beyond with a huge 1v2. Gradient thought he had something there, but it turns out he had only death. Going into that one item Renekton with the Kraken Slayer, yes, he does a decent amount of burst damage, but it's just not going to be enough. And here is
Mid getting grabbed, getting stunned, getting locked up, and getting deleted.
God.
Bush League joins him in the afterlife, and just like that, Snakerdoodles running this game over. Flash out from Hippo, and this is probably going to be mid-outer because they're pretty much doing whatever they want at this 16-minute mark, and yeah. Woof.
We shouted out Calbert on the perfect CC in the top lane. I gotta shout out Bush League on the perfect CC on that mid dive. What a gorgeous chain. Ari had no chance to do absolutely anything. It was a certain situation where it's just an absolute nightmare because nobody can do anything. You get engaged on that, you get surprised out of vision. Rammus lands his full combo. Bush League lands his full combo. Aurelion Soul drops his wombo on top of it, and it is just curtains. Very, very nice job. And we saw a little bit of that power from Aurelion Soul with this Rylai's, especially going onto the Darius. Even Ghosted is forced to still flash back out.
Yeah, just some really nasty snowball play. Snakerdoodles really showing how to use that Rammus. We've seen that Rammus pick a couple of different times, but something we've really seen with a lot of the other teams is they get a lead, but they're not quite able to kind of snowball that lead. Snakerdoodles don't seem to be having a problem with that, and especially with this kind of early burst lethality build on the Renekton and the Aurelion Soul starting to hit that first spike. They are having a field day, kind of getting moving. Triforce finish now for Elusive. We've got Locket. We got Locket. Everybody's got some items, and they're definitely feeling themselves. And I would expect to see a lot more of those Rammus plays, especially when the Leona is around. Because as you said, Bush League, Leona is his pocket pick, his go-to, his master champion. He knows how to pilot and land that CC and layer it perfectly on top of this taunt.
Yeah, and you said it. Just like Snakerdoodles know how to keep the tempo up, keep the pace going for this game, they did such a great job of knowing exactly what they could and couldn't do during that fight. They took the dragon. They knew that it was a 4v5 situation, and they saw such a huge engage in the mid lane that they were playing this immaculately. Excellent job from Snakerdoodles. They look like they are in the driver's seat. A complete role reversal from last game where it looked like Ride or Die had everything going for them. Now, honestly, Snakerdoodles just had to make sure that what happened to Ride or Die last game doesn't happen to them.
Yeah, for sure. That's always the risk. League of Legends is a game where you can throw very, very easily, and there's a lot of comeback mechanics, right? We got objective bounties, and there is some scaling. There is the Vayne, right? Vayne is the ultimate scaler. So when in doubt, just kind of power up the Vayne. Caridian, however, isn't going to wait. Going to try to make something happen. Flashes in onto Lucid, just trying to really, really push for it. Toasty actually popping his ultimate. Getting taunted, Cleanse flashes out immediately. He's going to kite. The rest of his team, though, is pushing in the back lane. There's the shutdown on Elusive. I'll take mid, grabs it. And just like that, caster curse onto Snakerdoodles and a 2-0 pickoff. As Caridian is going to try to ram us. The Snakerdoodles, not going to happen. I'll take mid, continuing to go fishing, but Bloodbath and Beyond is there. He can slice and dice into things if he wants to. Just going to opt to grab a little bit of a snack, an undersea snack. I don't know if you call them oysters or otherwise, but he's going to shuck Rudy, and that is going to be a return kill on the back. Caridian on the wrong side, and now that's a 2v2. So what could have been a great play for Ride or Die, Snakerdoodles turn it around and clean things up.
Oh my gosh, that is just the power of Bloodbath and Beyond on this Renekton. It's a 3v5. It is a 3v5. And he just goes in immediately, just goes onto the Ahri, almost one-shots it, especially with the Aurelion Soul AoE on top of that, turns onto Rudy, well actually does one-shot Rudy, and it just continues to hunt down this Caridian Viego to the point to where, like, I wonder, they blew everything and it looks amazing. They get the big shutdown over onto Ezreal, but he buys so much time that eventually it just turns the entire play around. That it's kind of a pure victory. Like, yes, that's a good situation for you overall. You get the kill onto the Ezreal, but like, at what cost?
Yeah. And the cost is about a 4,000 gold lead at the 20-minute mark. One dragon each, blood in a 1v2 situation.
I don't know if they want this.
Yeah, he doesn't want it either. He's going to get out of there. He's going to get out of there immediately. Baron about to spawn, so potentially fighting some vision control. Dragon as well, so both teams have a choice to make. Looks like they're going to be opting towards leaning Dragon, pushing themselves towards that. Aurelion Soul in the pot side does not have his teleport, so he's going to shade on that side. Renekton, once again, does not have teleport, period, so he's going to have to play things a little bit differently. An early Herald grab into the mid lane, so they're going to try to escort Shelly up into this mid inner, or at least just force Ride or Die to deal with her. And now they're going to be able to get vision control on this dragon. Blood actually is going to continue the escort detail, so he's going to push up on Shelly. It's just the bot lane, and Dragon is going to be taken by the Snakerdoodles with very minimal resistance.
And that's textbook. You have the Rift Herald advantage. You send it down middle with your Renekton, who's ultra strong. Shepherd it down a little bit and take a free dragon. Toasty TG ulting, but I'm honestly not sure Ride or Die wanted that anyways. You kind of look at the summer check across the board. At the time that the Dragon was started, there were actually no flashes. Now Hippogriff does have his, but there were actually no flashes on the board versus the situation where Bloodbath and Beyond does have his flash, Bush League does have his flash, and Sandy Snake does have his flash. So there's a huge flash and engage disadvantage from Ride or Die that, yeah, the Rift Herald play ended up working out perfectly, but I'm not sure they actually wanted to contest it anyways.
No, that was definitely going to be a tough contest for them, no matter what. Final hours did get popped.
Oh, they get the kill!
You know, I'll take mid, actually, now on a killing spree. Gonna knock out Aurelion Soul and punish him for existing. That is the I'll take mid classic, and still having that mega burst potential on the Ahri as Lucid pushes up the mid lane, and the Baron is just kind of being hovered and baited by Calvert and Bush League as we see Rudy roaming top side, gonna try to make something happen with Renekton.
I don't think they win this.
Rudy low, he's just gonna kill him straight up, and the rest of the team is there. Lucid gonna snipe out Hippogriff. Blood's gonna survive, flashes in, gets the double, and this is gonna be top inner going down, and the snowball rolling down the hill straight into Ride or Die's base as I'll take mid tries to get some kind of consolation prize on the bot side.
Yeah, even with the Ignite, and that's what I was trying to call out earlier with the Viego Hippogriff duo up at the top. Bloodbath and Beyond was level 14, now he's level 15. He has a 2 or 3 level lead on literally anyone else that shows up, and especially combined with his item lead plus Ignite, it's a situation where, like, you can't really fight him even 1v2. You have to bring multiple people, and you have to outnumber him and perma-CC him, so he can't get that signature Renekton heal off. And now it's just going to translate into a free dragon. The rest of his team was ready to support him in that 1v2. Not needed, but they were needed for this Baron.
Yeah, not needed at all. Grabbing the Baron at 23 minutes. This is Snakerdoodles' game to lose, cracking
Oh
this
my gosh.
open. 7,000 gold lead for the team. 2 dragons to 1. They have way more turrets. They've got top lane, potentially an inhibitor play. So they've got all the options they want, and they've got a very, very fed Renekton and a very, very fed Ezreal.
Yeah, and you look at this, and I think realistically, this only gets worse for Ride or Die. I mean, you look at how the comps break down. You look at how Ride or Die want to play the game, and unless they get a huge pick over onto Snakerdoodles, it's not. I don't know how they play these team fights. We talked about their comp. We honestly kind of lamented a little bit of how they were going to play the game, but we're kind of really seeing the fruition of that now, where they don't have any way of getting back in. Renekton is too much of a problem, and they don't have a great comeback mechanic built into their comp.
Yeah, they really don't. They're going to have to get some kind of uber pick onto Elusive, but even then, they're going to try to do exactly that. Bush League going in onto I'll Take Mid getting chunked out. This is a 4v4 actually right now. Not going to be enough as Blood comes in from the backside, and he is just going to lay waste to this Ride or Die squadron. Now going for a straight up back to front turret dive. Double kill as Elusive flashes in. Toasty not able to survive. I'll Take Mid goes down. Triple kill for Blood. Inhibitor for Snakerdoodles. And they could potentially try to close this game out right now.
I think they will. And honestly, I think this is the way that Snakerdoodles drew it up. They looked at their team comp and they said, this is exactly what we want to do. Across the board, the Renekton is enormous. The Aurelion Soul has fully scaled. The Ezreal is enormous, and the Vayne does no damage. Wow. So it's just exactly how Snakerdoodles wanted to play it out.
Yeah, that's going to be game 2 for Snakerdoodles, taking a pretty commanding 2-0 lead in this Season 7 finals against Ride or Die. And wow, that top lane matchup, we were talking about it before this series started. That Renekton got out of control.
Yeah, and big ups to Calbert. He set his top laner up for success with that early kill, and okay, Renekton barely out damaging this Ezreal, but across the board, just incredible numbers from Snakerdoodles. Really just well played from every single member of their team. Everyone pulling their weight, making sure that they knew what their role was, and the macro and the team play was really what set them apart.
Yeah, absolutely. They were all over the place. And you mentioned before, Calbert, we've seen Rammus games before where the Rammus kind of gets going, does a lot of cool stuff, and they just aren't able to capitalize. Snakerdoodles did not make that mistake. They had their Rammus where they needed it. They took control of all the global objectives, and they were able to just run Ride or Die over. So Ride or Die, they need to take a breath and figure out what they're going to do against this Snakerdoodles team. Otherwise, this is going to be a very, very short night. And here to break down that runaway train of a game 2 is Titanium Skull and Rioklu. Take it away, y'all. Let us know what you think.
Welcome back to the Analyst Desk, folks. That was a little bit of a quick one for us. Sub 25-minute game 2 for us. What are your thoughts on that one, Rioklu?
Yeah, it was a little rough, but it looked like Snicks was like kind of cleaning up their comm issues there.
I agree. We saw that right from the beginning. We got Rammus knew what his job was early. Go affect that top lane. And went in there, got that first blood. No, as Box told us, it was all combat summoner spells in that top lane. So getting that first kill kind of set Blood ahead level wise because of that huge wave that kind of got into the tower. I mean, and then Hippo, we came back, used that ghost to get a kill back, but it just wasn't enough to kind of snowball him forward, and that Renekton kind of just took over that top side and didn't allow the Viego to really go anywhere near that side of the map, because we saw the Renekton diving under tower, getting a double kill. They were dying to tower as well, but getting that double kill, really showing that aggressiveness and that ignite multiple times, just barely missing out. But I want to talk a little bit about that Ahri. He was trying really hard to keep his team in the game, but I just don't think it did quite enough.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. Like I honestly think so. Raw obviously have the mechanical skill, right, to go toe to toe with Snick. Like that's very clear. I think they didn't do any favors for themselves by picking this kind of draft. And I think they all have like certain champions they're really good at, but it's just like, you know, fix up the draft a little bit. It's kind of like what you had for game one. Game one, you guys kind of just over aggressed a little bit, and that was just like a macro mistake. So, I mean,
Yeah.
just keep the same kind of draft, and you
Yeah,
guys should be
in
fine.
comparison, it was very spread out. You had that Darius that just couldn't go in at all. It had no save because the Renekton W. You had the Leona Q, the Rammus ball, the Rammus taunt, just locking down and really not allowing him to frontline at all if they were ever going to get into any skirmishes. And so I agree with you on that point. They had that Vayne that was going to try and be a late game carry, but anybody who's going to try and stand in front of them with a Renekton with an Eclipse on them was just going to get blown to pieces and CC'd for days before they got to anything. But we did see a little bit of fight from the bot lane, at least early. That 1-for-1 in the bot lane, the Vayne trying to keep it alive. But then it kind of just started to snowball the other way. The Ezreal just comfort pick for Luciv, just really showing off the poke, showing the aggressiveness when he had used his E in lane, and then the Nautilus flash queued him, using his heal and flash to go forward and getting a kill on that Vayne. It was a sight to see. Can you explain, like, is he just landing a bunch of Qs? I know Box and Jaws mentioned that they were doing great in wave control. Was that wave control allowing them to get that poke off and then extend that lead?
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, they played to their strengths. Vayne has a very low auto attack range, and Ezreal especially is known to be like, very pokey ADC with his Qs. I think Luciv actually, and I'll committed for this, does a very good job of, he knows like where to like throw the Qs out to where they like kind of nick you on the side, even if you're kind of trying to hide behind minions. And so I think that's what he was doing there.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And they kept trying to make plays in the bot lane. Rudy baited too hard, got a kill that then allowed the Viego to at least start to get back in the game. Then the Viego got it, like the Ezreal got a double kill, and then the Viego came in and got a double. But at the end of the day, those bot and top lane for Snek just really drove it home. Didn't even need that Aurelion Soul to get scaled all the way up, even though we saw a glimpse of that power to starting in that mid lane when they dove the Ahri under tower with the Leona and the A-Soul ult on top, just chain CCing. It was quite the 15-minute power spike to see that what A-Soul could have become if they had scaled any further.
For sure. Yeah.
Yep. And so at that point in time, I think they were just snowballing, grabbing those, then a bad engage there at the end, kind of just that last bit of hope. Do you just think the draft issues is what Ride or Die needs to fix?
Yeah, that's one. That's one for sure. And I would say, like, your back's against the wall. Just try to keep your mental up as much as you can. When you're tilted, you're more prone to make mistakes. So just try to take a breather and reset that mental.
And with that breather, we are going to take a break on the analyst desk and send it back to the casters to start the next draft phase.
Oh, I thought we were going to perfect cast. Oh, man. Oh, well. Sorry, y'all. Thank you, T-Skull. Thank you, Rioklu. Appreciate y'all. Rip my mute button. We got game 3 coming at you pretty quickly. But yeah, Box, let's talk about it, because Ride or Die, they got their backs against the wall. Snakerdoodles are feeling it. That Quadra from Luciv clearly kind of lit a fire, and they are chugga chewing their way to a title. I believe it's potentially Blood's third title for TCL. So Snakerdoodles are looking pretty good right now. What does Ride or Die need to do to stop this runaway train?
I think they really need to rethink, go back to basics with what they're good at. I think they got a little too fancy with the draft in that last game, and it's something where it clearly did not pay off. They kind of gave up a lot of phases, and it just really snowballed onto them. From objective to these team fights to these early jungle ganks, it just really didn't work out. But at the same time, Snakerdoodles are playing out of their mind, cannot discredit what they are doing on their side of the map. And fun fact, Sandy has been in 6 out of 7 seasons, thank you, producer. And this was actually be his first final win. He is well on his way, not to jinx it at all, but it's something to where a lot of the members of this team we've seen before in the finals, but this would be Sandy's first win.
Yeah, that's true. You did caster curse them in game 2, where you're like, oh, they're gonna run away with it, and then they instantly got a shutdown on Luciv. So you gotta be careful with the power you wield behind the mic, my friend.
Oh man, hopefully nobody's watching this.
I know.
Wink, wink.
I know. Anyway, all joking aside, yeah, we've got some returners. We've got a lot of experience in terms of TCL finals in this final. But yeah, a lot of first timers. This is, I believe, Calbert. This would be Calbert's first title. It definitely would be Sandy's first title. I mean, yeah, Sandy's been playing in TCL since oh man, so long. And on the other side, on the Ride or Die side, Toasty is a TCL champion. I'll take mid. Caridian, Rudy, all TCL champions. So, they're trying to play for Hippo's first title. So there's sorry, no, just kidding.
He won season 1 with Abarn's team.
All of Ride or Die are previous champions. So
yeah, they're
just
looking for the repeat.
I think then for sympathy's sake and for the sentimental favorite, it's got to be let's get Sandy Snake his first title, and it could potentially be a sweep as we are into champion select for game 3, unless Ride or Die really does something special. Because if Snakerdoodles keep doing what they're doing, this is gonna be a short night.
And man, they looked so good for the first 30 minutes of that first game that you have to wonder you have to believe that they still have it in them. It's something where I think that if they go back to basics, they go back to what has made them who they are throughout the entire season. You let I'll Take Mid just go absolutely crazy with Caridian as kind of the Pippin to his Jordan. I really think that they still have the ability to claw this back and take us to Silver Scrapes.
Yeah, I completely agree, and it is the third season. Let's make it the third season where the final goes 5, because last 2 seasons it has gone 5, and I believe it was an almost reverse sweep, and then it was last season was an almost reverse sweep, and I believe it was a full reverse sweep the previous season. But I'll need a producer check on that because my brain ain't so good as you get older. We see the actually a Leona ban, because that has been the first pick.
Change it up.
Has been the first pick for the Snakerdoodles across this. Teams opting to remain on the sides they want to remain on. I'm also curious if they're going to let I'll Take Mid grab one of his picks before the second wave of bans, because in game 2 they opted for the Vayne pick, which you and I discussed, a little questionable. Shen Hover.
We'll see if that really comes through.
I think that's just a little bit of to Hippo.
But I really like the pivot to that Leona ban, like you said. It's something where just try something new, get them a little bit out of their comfort zone, just get them out of the rhythm, right? Let them. Ooh, no way, he's just hovering that for Rudy. But he actually locks it in. Okay,
he's doing more than hovering it. He is taking it
there. It is
from Rudy, and also. The Leona is one of Rudy's go-to champions. It's a contested pick between Rudy and Bush League. And so now with Leona and Rakan being taken off the table, Rudy's been playing nothing but Nautilus, so I would probably expect him to continue to play Nautilus. But yeah, with the Rakan first pick, we see the brand grab. That could potentially be a jungle brand. That could be a support brand. There's a lot of different places that brand could go.
Okay, so forget what I said about going back to basics. They are just going to make things even spicier. A little bit more heat up in here with the brand pick and the Thresh. I'm so excited to see whatever the outcome of this game is. I'm just so excited to see these kinds of new champions being broken out and these new matchups happening.
Yeah, it's great to see. I don't think I've seen Rudy on Thresh this season. Maybe he played one game, but there's the Trundle pick. That has been banned away, so they replaced the Leona ban with the Trundle ban with the Leona ban. Calbert jumping on that immediately. So we're going to see a jungle Trundle. Could be a top lane Trundle, but it's probably going to be a jungle Trundle considering how deep Blood's pool is. Trundle's, he's okay, but not really great into Hippo's pool. So probably going to be a jungle Trundle, and we see the Ashe being grabbed, probably going to be an AD carry Ashe.
I almost certainly feel like that's going to be an AD carry Ashe.
I don't really see Bush League playing support Ashe, so probably going to be an AD carry Ashe. And I guess they're going to grab the AD again before the second wave of bans, as we see a couple of different hovers.
Yeah, and Trundle was actually just buffed a couple of patches ago, and I think he has a couple more down the pipeline, but ooh, the Twitch. Okay. I think that's something to where you look at where the Ashe is going, and you think that Luciv is going to be able to enable the rest of his team to really play the game very effectively between the Ashe vision, really let this Trundle get as much ahead up on Caridian as possible. So I think that's where their mind was kind of at, low for a little bit of pick potential with the Ashe play, and Ashe is just naturally strong at the moment. But Twitch, we all know the potential of the Twitch pop-off.
Yeah, the Twitch pop-off, great. He's made a paper, which is also not so great. And that's a big challenge that we saw them facing in the early laning phase, where they were just eating absolutely everything. And Ashe is poke city as well. Not quite as pokey as Ezreal, but she's pretty pokey. As we see Azir and Rammus, the respect ban, although pretty sure that was a jungle Trundle, so I'm not quite sure where the Rammus ban is coming from. Yone, that has been the staple ban against Hippogriff, really trying to narrow his pool and focus him into a matchup that Blood can anticipate. There's the Sylas ban again. I'm curious if they're going to blind Ahri again, or if they're going to blind something that's going to try to pinch Sandy's pool, because we were talking about it before. If I'll take mid grabs Syndra in this situation, it's going to pinch Sandy into. He's not going to be able to grab Aurelion, right? He's not. No one in their right mind would pick Aurelion into Syndra, as he may just. Pick.
Yeah, you never know. I feel
true.
like.
All right, well, there's the Syndra pick. So let's see if Sandy is in his right mind or not, and picks Aurelion into Syndra.
Yeah, well, and Sandy's pool is about as deep as they come. You know, he's someone who has played so many champions over the course of the history of TCL and played them all to such a high degree that I wouldn't be surprised if he picked anything. And I think this is a comp where he feels comfortable kind of picking whatever. He knows what his matchup is going to be. It's just a matter of what he feels fits best with what his team wants to do.
Interesting.
And go ahead.
Support Amumu, I'm thinking.
Or
it's a jungle Amumu, and we've got Trundle going top.
Yeah,
so
I would imagine. Yeah.
Remember, folks, the players can watch Champion Select live. So, hi, Sandy. Hi, Bush League. Nice to see you. Maybe he's gonna pick it. Maybe he won't.
We'll see.
Hello.
He can do whatever he wants. Yeah, and I you know, that's gonna be tough. It's gonna be interesting, but. I mean, look at what his showing was last time. I think he looked great on it, and I think he gives them the scaling that they might want within the context of this comp. As there's the Alawi hover against Bloodbath and Beyond, I am not sure if he wants that, especially knowing that he's into a Trundle. I'm not entirely sure what this matchup looks like.
Yeah, I don't think he's gonna pick.
Yeah, there's the Jax.
There's the Jax.
I was wondering. I was like, I don't know, but I feel like it's not.
Yeah.
But really, Steve, I really want to highlight this bot lane matchup. This is such a volatile and very interesting skill matchup. I think Thresh really has the ability to dictate how this lane goes. He can do things like Flavor Con out of his W. He can do things like obviously Hook very effectively. He gives a lot of safety toward this Twitch in the event of something like an Amumu gank. It's something where if Rudy plays this well, he can really dictate the flow of this game. Maybe get a couple of robes off, go toward the Syndra. He combos really well with a lot of other members of this team. So if Rudy's able to kind of set his team up for victory, I hope to see Ride or Die really kind of make a little bit of a turnaround.
It's really interesting that you wanted to go on a 30-minute conversation around the bot lane when someone picked Brand Jungle. So I guess the analyst desk will have to talk about it, but holy crap, a Brand Jungle.
Yep, there it is.
I love seeing Hippo on the Jax. I think it's a great champion for him. But yeah, Brand Jungle versus the Amumu. We saw the Trundle being grabbed as actually a flex pick. Blood going top. I was not expecting him to go Trundle top. And then we've got Syndra whip your butt until level 9 versus Aurelion Soul, please don't hurt me until level 9. So it's going to be super duper spicy. And with that in mind, we're going to pass it on to the analyst desk. TCL and Rioklu, talk about this Brand Jungle, please.
like Jaws said, I do want to talk about that brand a little bit because I was even a little confused seeing it. I thought it was meant to be against the Aurelion Soul, so that when Aurelion Soul went to just start plowing down the wave, he could just press W on him. But it's going to the jungle. What do you think of a brand jungle right now from the Kurdian?
Yeah, no, actually when I played with Rod for a little bit, just to help him get some practice in, Fredian was playing Brand Jungle quite a lot, so he's like decently practiced on it. We've seen Brand being played throughout TCL, and it can really output a lot of damage, so
yeah.
really
I do think it might help a little bit in those skirmishes in the river if they can start those off pretty well, but what do you think about the mid lane matchup there? We got Aurelion Soul again. Are we going to get to see it go a little bit later this time, or is that Syndra going to be able to put some pressure on it? Like mid was able to put pressure on it with an Ahri. I think Syndra's got a little bit better chance of it making a little more impact, right?
Yeah, no, I think like I'll take mid Syndra. It's just like super scary, especially when you have like him on it. So, for sure, I think Syndra higher damage output. The stun range is like kind of crazy on her too, and she's able to shove away like anyone that engages on her. So I wonder, it'll kind of depend on how they play with their CC and especially like Trundle Pillar and whatnot.
Yeah, and we're finally getting to see a little bit of a different support matchup in the bot lane now. They banned the Leona, so Bush couldn't be comfort pick, and then we went and saw Rudy switch it up to Thresh. Can you give a little bit about how that matchup down there will go for?
Yeah, no. So I honestly hope, it's I think Asher Khan have a lot more CC on it. If they landed on Twitch, it's pretty game over for Toasty. So I genuinely hope Toasty took cleanse this game. Because if he didn't, he's in really big trouble. But if Rudy is confident being able to disengage for Khan and keep Toasty safe, Toasty can output that damage as Twitch. So
yeah, I do like their comp much better than last game's comp with the brand jungle throwing me for a little bit of a loop. But I think Ride or Die has a pretty good chance of taking this one. I think they're going to be hungry for a win here, so that's what I'm predicting. Who do you got?
Same here. Let's see the reverse sweep.
Alrighty. And let's send it back to the casters. Box, Jaws, take it away for us.
Alrighty, thank you so much, T-Skull and Rioklu. And yeah, we were talking during the break about just the comps in general, and we were saying historically, especially in Game 2, but also a little bit in Game 1, Snakerdoodles definitely getting a couple of advantages, but in this case, especially in the bot lane, not quite having the same priority that they had in previous games, potentially opening the door for Ride or Die, and especially with the explosiveness of this jungle mid combination. There's potentially a Game 4 in the works if they can play their cards right.
Yeah, I mean, we were kind of chatting about how in a lot of the situations they actually got pretty decent counter picks in the lanes that they wanted, and their draft philosophy oftentimes revolves around making sure that we have kind of the effective lanes that we want to be able to do what we want throughout the early game. And it certainly seems like they were able to get Bush off of like that Leona and into a Rakan where his engage is a little bit more conditional. The way he plays the game is a little bit more one-dimensional, maybe not one-dimensional isn't the right word, but a little different from how Leona plays it, to where maybe they like what they're seeing across the map.
Yeah, a little bit less binary than you would expect from a Leona, right? Leona goes in or she doesn't go in. There is no middle ground. Whereas Rakan, a bit more nuance in his kit, in what he can do, right? He has an entrance, he has a grand entrance, and he has an exit button. So there's a lot of different things to be done. Looks like it's going to be a blue start for the brand, blue start for both junglers. So going to be kind of chips passing in the night as a Mumu paths down and Brand paths up. But yeah, we're definitely going to have to keep an eye on this jungle Brand. With the recent changes, jungle Brand a lot more viable.
Yeah, a lot better.
And for this season, you had mentioned before that you had played against the jungle Brand, but with the specific changes to the jungle and to Brand, making jungle Brand a lot more viable for TCL, this is a first, if I recall.
Meanwhile, the same old happening up here in the top lane. Nothing phases these guys up here, especially Hippogriff.
Nope.
Doesn't matter how the last game went. Doesn't matter how the previous game went. All that matters is that he's having a good time up here playing Jax, and we're kind of seeing a little bit of that range difference. Bot lane coming in, not leashing, able to get a nice push off, and especially with the amount of that Ashe is able to poke, the amount that Ashe is able to just kind of get autos off over onto the enemy team with the slow plus this walk toward them. It's just a little bit more difficult to play this lane early on.
Yeah, it's definitely true, and Luciv and Bush League have done a great job of getting the level 2 first. They've played the wave expertly, making sure that they get the trade, they get the positioning, and making sure that they get the level 2, get the push going, and just push Ride or Die on the back foot and forcing them to respond. Caridian looks like he's going to be finishing his clear and looking into the top side. Blood pushing in slightly and gonna roll down, grab himself a little bit of a safety ward, and head back. But all told, a much less volatile early game as Calbert rolls down into the bot side, and a solid deep ward, I believe, from I'll Take Mid to spot him out as we see Blood and Hippo just slapping at each other.
Yeah, a little bit of an unfortunate wave position down in the bot lane, but they know they have support from Amumu. Meanwhile, Caridian is here ready to gank on the Brand.
Yes, he is. He is triangulating in onto Blood. Blood W's in, flashes out. Hippo does not get the counter strike, and the wave is there, so he's going to be able to get out of it. The flash is down. Potential lane gank from Calbert. Calbert not being seen, and the slow push. The wave is... No, the wave unfortunately not pushing towards them. It's going to push away from them, so... not able to get what he wants, so he's just going to have to back off. So yeah, a slower start to this game 3 than we've previously seen. But, you know, with these teams, give it another minute. They'll get going.
Crucially, backed without taking Scuttle. So Scuttle's still available. Brand takes the top Scuttle and is ready to repeat gank. Knows that Trundle doesn't have this flash. Looks like Amumu is moving to support, but the wave is pushing in. Trundle should be okay. Ooh, maybe not.
Yeah, does drop the pillar. The ghost comes in from Caridian. Caridian's going to try to get the W. Does successfully do it. Gets the stun.
Very nice.
Gets the pop. Gets the passive. Gets the first blood. And Hippo's actually going to push this. So this is going to be a massive wave loss and potentially a plate for the Jax. No, it's going to be an immediate TP from Blood. Going to be able to catch this. So because of the cannon, going to be able to catch most of this wave. Nice play by him, but he is out of summoners.
Yeah, Calbert probably regret not taking that bot Scuttle, but something we didn't talk about is Caridian actually has Ghost. He has Ghost, was able to Ghost into the fight, land his full combo. Blood can't dodge that huge AoE from Brand, still gets stunned, and other than the Ghost being burnt, Hippogriff still has both of his summoners still available. So it's just a great win for Ride or Die, especially with going back, getting that Sheen, and now he's able to walk back and just have just as much power as before.
Yeah, Ride or Die really getting things going, and Jax, such a Hippogriff champion. He plays top lane like a fighting game, and Jax is a fighting game character for sure. So he's going to be able to take advantage of that advantage, getting a little bit of extra longsword, fight Blood neutrally, and we can already see him. I can see him on the mini-map. I can see his icon just jumping, so you know he's leap striking in, getting that W, auto attack reset, and walking back out.
Yeah, and Ashe is level 4 now, is going to be able to hawkshot across the map, kind of keep tabs on where this Brand jungle is. You always want to know where the Burning Man is, and I think another thing is that it's kind of a weird situation where both teams are a little bit on a timer. You don't want Aurelion Soul to get too far ahead, but you also don't want this Jax to be able to just become a split-pushing monster, because frankly, I'm not sure who can match him. Caridian starting up the jungle. The dragon's a little bit of a slow dragon, especially with the mana bars that we're seeing here, but it looks like it should just be free.
Yeah, they should be able to knock this one out, so he's going to need to back immediately. Rudy coming in, trying to help him out. The drone spots them away.
think Red I got into
take
every
Dragon.
single first dragon in every single game.
yeah, he's been prioritizing it for sure.
Yeah.
As we 6 minute mark, little bit of an advantage on the side of Ride or Die. As we see Hippo in the top side, actually getting a little bit beat up from Blood, being forced to flash out in that 1v1. So we were talking about how Hippo could potentially take advantage. Blood says, "No, sir. I'm just going to hit you with my club," and forcing the flash out. Great play by him.
Oh, he ends it!
Wow! Immediate cleanse as we see the counter flash out from Toasty. So Toasty's able to get some free autos, but that's going to be Ignite down onto Rudy. Not going to be enough. Calvert actually goes down, taking one too many turret shots. So Toasty getting the return kill. Great early advantage by him.
Yeah, honestly, you kind of wonder if Calbert thought he had a little bit more damage coming from the elusive Ash. It's so tough to turn that over onto a Thresh, especially with the Guardian proc going. And Toasty G forced both sums, but is able to turn around under the safety of turret and land a nice little situation where he just is able to free auto. And he gets that kill for himself, and that's exactly who you want. You want this Twitch ahead. You want this Twitch to be accelerated as much as possible so he can start making plays with his stealth and he can start opening up.
Oh, yeah, and that's the thing we were concerned about, was whether the Twitch was just going to get blown up, considering how weak he is. Oh, no. Oh, no. And that is an ultimate onto a minion. Nobody saw that. Don't worry about it,
No, he's in such a
Caridian.
bad spot now.
Oh, and yeah, he is definitely going for the angle. He's going to be aggressive onto Calbert, trying to push that in. Calbert does get credit, but he does get stunned, and another stun on All Take Mid. So Calbert gets deleted in his own jungle. All Take Mid, Caridian, and Hippo joining the party. Blood pinned under his turret. Sandy is there alone, and All Take Mid just going to zone him out. But Caridian now going to grab the Rift Herald off of the dead Calbert. Oh, Calbert's still alive, so he's going to come back in. So this could be a little bit of an overextension from Caridian. But Sandy Snake, wow,
What is his
out. Can I
HP?
see health?
Please click on
How
his
much health?
HP,
Single
producer.
digit? Can I see single digit health, please? Please.
Maybe not. That's
please
okay.
Click him, Mr. Producer.
That's all right.
I
Honestly, I mean, you called it, Steve. The strength of this Syndra versus Aurelion Sol matchup. I thought Caridian was going to be in a bad spot, just brazenly walking into the enemy jungle, but Syndra walking forward with his jungler, making sure that was going to be a good play. And they just kind of drop, not even everything, but just drop enough to kill the Amumu, and there's nothing that Sandy Snake can do. In fact, there's so little that he can do that he almost dies right after that.
Yeah, and you talked about the Pippin to I'll Take Mid's Jordan. A brand is so great for I'll Take Mid, because I'll Take Mid is going to get someone dead or close to dead, and Brand just has to slam his face onto his keyboard to make sure that they stay dead. So going up against this squad where the Aurelion Sol and the Ashe are low mobility damage turrets, a Brand slamming his face into the keyboard plus a Syndra landing all of her abilities, that's going to be, one of them's probably going to be dead, and so that's going to be a great team fight win for Ride or Die. Looking as we approach 10 minutes, they've got a massive gold lead for how far into the game we are. First Dragon, first Herald. Brand actually did pick up that Herald, so he was completely unpunished by what was probably a bit of a greedy Herald. They are firmly in the driver's seat in this game 3, and it looks like largely unfazed by being 2-0 down.
Yeah, excellent macro play from Ride or Die. We're seeing shades of what they were able to do game 1. I think they made a little bit of a comp mistake in game 2, but they've come back with a vengeance. Like you said, you have to imagine that Ride or Die are in a situation that they are very, very comfortable. The Syndra, even with the brand, a little bit unorthodox, but still, they're in a situation where they're doing exactly what they want to do. And I think across the board, Syndra's going to be able to look for picks, and especially with the execute damage with the brand, I'm not sure if any of the squishies are going to be able to survive from Snakerdoodles.
No, and that's something we talked about with Snakerdoodles before, where they've previously run very, very tanky compositions, and this is the first time where they're going a little bit squishier. Blood historically likes to run bruisers, Calbert likes to run tanks, but Sandy, even in game 1, right, ran the Sylas. Sylas a little bit of
he
a
ulted
beefcake.
it.
Oh yeah, he did. Blood jumping in onto Hippo, giving the slap happy, and he's just gonna knock him out. Ulti popped, and see you later.
Oh my god, this Trundle skin with the club is one of the goofiest things I've ever seen. It's like there's no weight to it. It's like he's like throwing around like a rolled up newspaper. It's like,
Well, Box, it's time to troll. And that is exactly what Blood is doing, forcing the teleport out from Hippo. Massive wave. And Blood may just continue on. Hippo jumping in has all the components that he needs for his Sunderer. Blood does not care at all. Blood is actually at an item disadvantage, and he's still kicking the crap out of this Jax. What is going on in this top lane?
I don't know how anyone stays sane up in top lane. This is just too funny.
Oh, that's our secret. We're all crazy.
Meanwhile, bot lane, a nice little engage over onto Rudy. That's exactly what I'm talking about. The flay out of the grand entrance from Bush League. Nice job from Rudy, able to keep himself alive.
Yeah, Rudy doing a great job with the flay. Calvert tries to bandage the Shelly, but Shelly was already mid-charge, so not able to do it. A couple of plates being slapped. But in the bot lane, yeah, this has been what Luciv and Bush League have done all series. Just push all day long.
Yep.
And yeah, doing a great job of making sure that they stay safe. You'd mentioned it before. The drone on Ashe, as well as solid warding, as Caridian pitching a tent, really trying to get him. Before he was trying to snowball, now he's just trying to get him out of this situation, because Blood is just going to solo Hippo if Caridian's not careful. Caridian having to pop Ghost just to stop the bleeding, but Blood is just perfectly happy to hang out here, and now we've got a 2v2 situation. Caridian having shown himself, Calvert now knows that he's there, and Blood is all too happy because this is basically a 2v1.5. Actually, just kidding. See you later. Hippogriff able to get a kill. Blood going low, but he's just going to be able to get the double kill. I'll take mid, trying to take advantage. Flashes in, does drop the ulti to get the kill, and going to walk away with a mastery spam. So a 2 for 2 all told. As we see Toasty popping off, getting a double kill and surviving with absolutely nothing.
What a play.
Across the map, a 3 for 2. Actually, sorry, a 4 for 2 in favor of Ride or Die.
I'm not gonna lie, I thought that top lane was gonna be terrible. Hippo had already blown his ultimate during the previous engage with Bloodbath and Beyond. Bloodbath and Beyond with Calvert in its support. I guess didn't use his ultimate, but still, Blood had his ultimate, and I thought it was gonna be, the Flash. Saving his own life, but I thought it was going to be bad. Ultimately, they turn it. They're able to blow up Calvert with the Amumu. He's not quite tanky at this moment, especially going demonic first. And it's an extended 2v2 with I'll take mid picking up another kill. And I think an important thing is what happened in the bot lane. You look at that, and that's 3 kills, full Blade of the Rune King on Twitch. He is actually fully online. This is a huge one-item spike. He can definitely go stealth and absolutely nuke Sandy Snake, especially with no flash available.
And the sustain is going to offset a lot of the poke that he's going to be dealing with the Ashen Rakan. Something I did want to call out, I just jumped back into the spectate. Calbert's ulti was up during that skirmish. And he didn't. And he held it, and clearly underestimated the burst potential, and that really seems to have been the difference.
Absolutely.
Real shame on that one. So definitely going to have to make sure, right? League of Legends fundamentals, just press your buttons, right?
At the misplay. He thought it was a free play, but you don't take those for granted, especially in a 2v2 situation. You make sure that you blow everything, you make sure you secure the kill. And now he does have it for this, whatever this next play is, but so does everyone else. All the ultimates are back up.
Yeah, unfortunately, that is absolutely the case. As Blood, both Sunderers finished on the side, but Blood having the Greaves, play to Greaves against the Jax. Jax loves to auto attack. Play to Greaves loves to mitigate a lot of that damage. But you'd mentioned before, Blade of the Rune King online, double Leandries online on the side of Ride or Die.
Such a huge power spike.
On the side of Snakerdoodles, not as many major items, right? Before in Game 1 or Game 2, we saw that beautiful line of mythics on the side of Snakerdoodles. Game 3, not so much. So Ride or Die, what can they do to make sure that they can get the snowball rolling the way that Snakerdoodles did in Game 2?
They are in a power trough right now, and Ride or Die are in such a big power spike. Definitely. Oh, and nice play down here in the bottom lane. It's going to be a dive, and there's the grand ult.
Yeah, it is. Ulti popped absolutely everything. Toasty cleaning up Lucid, and Bush League just burning down. It's the poison, it's the flames, it's everything. And the Lantern to seal the deal, and that is going to be a double kill in the bot lane. Bot lane burning, bleeding, poisoning. absolutely everything. I'm going to call this the dot build on the side of Ride or Die because they just have so many ways to make you just watch your life bar disappear as we see top lane going down. This is kind of the shining light of hope for the Snakerdoodles is Bloodbath and Beyond beating the crap out of this Jax.
Yeah, maybe if he's enough ahead of the Jax, he can be the split push threat instead of the Jax. But we were just talking about how Snakerdoodles needed to slow it down a little bit. But as we were saying that, Ride or Die with such great game sense, going for that dive ahead of the Dragon play, and I am not sure Snakerdoodles want this. This might just put them in an even worse position. Now they do have Mythics on board, but it is still such an awkward spot. But there are no ultimates available for Ride or Die, so maybe they do want this instead.
Oh yeah, they did drop Shelly mid, so that someone's going to have to deal with it. I see I'll take mid is there, and it looks like positioning priority actually in favor of Snakerdoodles. If I can see the full map, please. Thank you. Looks like it's going to be a free dragon for the Snakerdoodles, and just like that, Ride or Die took their foot off the gas pedal.
Yeah, they didn't have ultimates. They're trying to wait that out, but they didn't have the ability to do so. Still, ultimately not the biggest deal in the entire world. It's just a single dragon. She's getting clipped by that a little bit. But it is something where now as their ultimates come back up, they can start to hunt for another play. There's no objectives going to be online soon, so there's not like there's anything to hold that up for. If they can look for something in the next couple of minutes, it still could look very good for them.
Yeah, it absolutely could. It's just one of those things where momentum is so important in League of Legends, and especially in a team setting, right? Being able to kind of maintain that momentum and continue to push the tempo. And that's something that we've seen Ride or Die do incredibly well. And we've seen this movie before of Caridian jumping onto Bloodbath and Beyond Hippogriff, actually rolling in, Ghosts being popped, and they're just going to try to burn him down as quickly as possible. And with that Leandries, they're going to have no problem doing so. This top outer is going to go down, no problem. Caridian's going to back out. He's perfectly happy having the Jax take that solo gold.
Just doesn't do enough damage to be able to one-shot at the moment, and especially against something like a Jax, he's going to be stunned enough with the brand combo that it's kind of funny that this Ghost is actually working out for Caridian. It's not something I would have expected, but he's definitely making it work for him, especially in such a long lane like top lane.
Yeah, it's great. And we see volatility in the bot lane as we double teleport, triple teleport coming down. 2 red, 1 blue. Sandy's coming in with a great backline stun. Gets 1, going for Calbert for the bonk on the 2. Does not get it. Sandy Snake actually able to breathe him to death, but it is just going to delay the inevitable. Calbert's going to go down as well, and that is going to be an almost ace for Ride or Die, as we saw everybody burning their teleports, and it was a total party, and Ride or Die were the guest of honor.
And it looked a little bad at the start for Ride or Die, but they just didn't quite have the damage to be able to one-shot anyone. Ultimately, Toasty giving up a shutdown makes it that 3 for 4 that isn't as bad for Snakerdoodles as you would expect, especially since Blood is going to get the mid turret in return. So I would say it's almost a wash. And especially since they're able to kind of get a little bit more gold into their pocket, the more gold happens, the better they're going to look on their side.
Yeah, and taking a look at the game state as we approach the 19-minute mark, 5,000 gold lead, a little bit more than 5,000 or 4,000 gold lead in favor of Ride or Die. And the TP play, especially from Hippo, I got to call out, great Counter-Strike from him. Just getting, I believe he got the stun on 2 people. He was threatening 3 people, totally split the fight. And if you look at these KDAs, can I see the gold, please, to reflect this? Because we are seeing some massive gold leads on the side of Ride or Die, about 2,000 in the jungle, a little bit more than 1,000 in the mid lane, and a little bit more than 1,000 in the bot lane. The only deficit in that top side. But that's to be expected in this matchup.
Oh, and
Blood, however, is going to, doesn't really matter if he has a gold lead if he's dead, as I'll take mid. Going to be able to get credit for that kill. Toasty, meanwhile, is going to try to sneak in, but Rudy doesn't like what he sees, so they're just going to back off.
Yeah. And David just making all of the right moves. Caridian on this Ghost brand. Anytime he has the ability to be in his side lane looking for a play over onto this Trundle, he just wants to make sure that Blood does not have any fun in this video game. And crucially, all of this gold is going into all of the right places. You want it onto your DPS threats. And yeah, sure, you could have it on Jackson, that's great. But you put it onto this brand, you put it onto Syndra, and they are going to be able to blow up anyone at will. And the more gold that they get, the more effective they are against the enemy front line. And the more gold the Switch gets, the more effective he is going to be against literally everyone in this entire game.
Yeah, and with 2 low mobility threats, we saw that they're not going to be able to do really what they want. Aurelion Sol has to be in range for that breath. And so if that range is full of brand fire and Twitch poison, that's not going to happen. But looking at Hippo as well, right? He's going to get a lot of really free side lane farms. So loving to see the brand getting a lion's share of that gold. I'll take mid actually taking the side lane duties with that teleport on Blood.
Side lane matchup this is.
This is bizarre.
You see a Trundle Syndra side lane, especially with Syndra a level up onto Trundle. Especially like Trundle's been doing pretty well for himself, but I think that just speaks to how accelerated I'll take mid is. 9.3k gold. Basically the richest person in the game by a decent margin. The only person who's even sniffing the same distance as him is his own jungler as the other play happening.
Oh, and that's a squishy Sandy Snake getting poison burned and shielded. Oh, he finally goes down. Hippo able to get the final kill, but once again, double teleport coming in. So here comes Blood and here comes mid. And this is going to be ride or die, trying to retain their lead. But they're not going to be able to do that as Blood flashes in. Rudy flays him out. Blood is going to just keep chasing him down. That was a triple kill for Blood, going for the quadra. He's going to die for it, but he does not care. So that is going to be a bloody ace for the Snakerdoodles Bush League, the last champion standing.
Yeah, before Sandy Snake going down, dealing a ton of damage with this Aurelion Soul, but Calbert landing an enormous Amumu ult. Actually, he's in the bush, gets hooked by Rudy, gets pulled into his own into the enemy team thanks to the thresh hook, and immediately just presses the R button and sets up that Trundle TP, who just comes in and just munch smacks everyone to death. And it is a full reset for this dragon because now everyone is dead, everyone has died and is able to buy their items, and we're actually seeing some gold bounties for the side of Snakerdoodles, so not the biggest difference in gold in the last 10 minutes, but still.
Yep, and an objective bounty that they're fighting over right now. Calbert going in, no hesitation. Gonna try to face block as much as he can. Face blocks most of the brand burst. Sandy Snake knocking Hippo out of the fight, but that is 2 down for Snakerdoodles and only the Jax down for Ride or Die. So Ride or Die still with a sizable advantage, able to push Snakerdoodles off of this dragon.
Yeah, and I think they had a little bit of an inside track. And so, like, even though they gave up the drag, they now have the tempo going toward this Baron play. They're going to be able to get this Scuttle Crab, and they're going to be able to have vision set up. Bloodbath and Beyond, I'm not sure you want to be there.
No, he certainly does not. He's tanky, but I don't know if he's that tanky. He's that tanky. He's just continuing to first gets the magic shield.
Okay.
That is insane.
Turns out 4v1, the one wins. As it turns out, he does have Maw Malmortius, and so I think that made a huge difference in him being able to survive all that magic damage burst. That most of the damage coming across was from Outtake Mid and Caridian, but I still can't believe that he survived.
Yeah, he's a beefy boy. He also has Hullbreaker, so I would be expecting him to start looking for, he immediately went bot lane. So he's definitely going to be starting to look for those isolation split pushes. But yeah, with 2 dragons each, 24 minutes in, still a sizable gold advantage for Ride or Die, but that advantage is diminishing by the minute. And the stronger this Trundle gets, and the stronger this Aurelion Soul gets, it's going to be really, really rough for Ride or Die to push this to a game 4.
Yeah, for sure. And I think the timer is starting to swing back in the other way. The gold lead hasn't really grown, and as a percentage of the difference, it's shrunk actually quite sizably. And yeah, Hippogriff is starting to get more into the game. He has 2 items, but he's still an item down on Bloodbath and Beyond, who's 7 and 5, just got like a quadra kill in the previous fight, and now has support from Calbert, as Calbert's here instead of at the Baron. And I honestly think a huge thing is you look at the Aurelion Soul, has the Zanyas, can't get one shot by anyone on the enemy team. Sorry, not the Zanyas, the Stopwatch. And I think the more this game goes on, the more this Aurelion Soul's AoE is going to be able to outrange the Ride or Die composition. And it doesn't matter if this Ashe is able to hit too effectively, because he just needs to be able to kite and stay alive and eventually come into this team fight a little bit later on.
And that seems to be what they are doing. They're playing a very patient front to back. Hippo dropping the counter strike and gets rewarded with getting pounded in the face repeatedly. Caridian once again being a bit of a hippogriff babysitter, but Blood has gotten wise to their tactics and is just going to back off. He's not backing off entirely though. He's just waiting for Caridian to leave, and he's just going to continue to push. As we see in the mid lane, Caridian has shifted his gaze to that juicy Ashe target. But yeah, priority in terms of this Baron, definitely in favor of the Snakerdoodles. Calbert protecting that vision ward, They've got really solid vision across the river, and Blood is just pulling multiple people. So yeah, Caridian is still there. So the Baron, yeah, they should absolutely go Baron. This is the TCL special. Drop
So
2 people. Do your best. Try to stay alive as long as you can. Oh my God. And then the rest of the team does the Baron, and it looks like they are doing exactly that, or at least waiting for it. Yep, they're going to be starting this one up. Blood is buying so much time for his team. Yeah. We got the mastery spam. The rest of Ride or Die is there, but this is a 3v4. Elusive drops the arrow. It misses everybody. Oh, that is tragic. But Bush League rolling in, getting the space that his team needs to secure the Baron, and they're just going to be able to walk away. Calbert may pay for it with his life, but that is A-okay by them.
Definitely messier than it needed to be. Elusive not at that Baron take, and it ends up being much slower than it should have been. But my God, can we talk about Bloodbath and Beyond? Apple playing, just sitting there, smack, staying alive on the Trundle. Getting those 3 shutdowns in the Quadra kill must have really paid off, because I think he needed every penny of that. And it just made the Caridian Hippogriff duo look silly. And the more he continues to smack, the more difficult he is to kill, presses his ult over onto Hippogriff, and despite being the same level, I'm not sure they're on the same skill level at this point.
No, and I mean, now with Baron, it's just going to be even worse, right? He's got the hull breaker. Hippo does not have the hull breaker, so Blood is that split push threat. They have to deal with it, otherwise he will just walk straight into an inhibitor. His team clearly very comfortable in this situation, just playing as a unit. As you mentioned, Elusive, a little late to the party, was not able to land his ultimate, but they were able to he was able to create enough space. Great play by Bush League, able to kind of dive in, buy his team enough time to finish off the Baron, and they just walked away. So much patience in what was essentially a bloodless fight, with Bush League being the only person that really paid with his life.
Yeah, I can't believe this outer's still up, but actually Hippogriff's just going to jump in with the stun up, and oh man, doesn't get the stun. He's might die for it here, and the rest of his team is coming to support.
Okay, pulls out the teleport. Blood does get stunned, does get double stunned by All Take Mid. They're going to drop as much as they possibly can onto him, but he's just going to walk away while his team takes Dragon. Are you kidding me?
3 ultimates. Blood has officially taken over this game, and nobody has anything in response to him. What happened to Ride or Die? Still up in gold the entire game, but there is one thing they cannot account for, and it is this Trundle, this absolute troll running the Summoner's Rift like he's the absolute king.
He is the king right now. He is just, it is his world, and we are just living in it as he takes all of this damage, and he's just going to heal back up. They do pop his maw, which is a bit of a consolation prize. I'll take Mid, not able to land a stun onto anybody. They're kind of maybe buying time for Lucive's ulti to come up. He did try to fire one off earlier. It did not land. So Lucive a little off target with these ultimates. We haven't kind of seen that Ashe pick off that he's really known for. Sandy Snake a little aggressive on his positioning. He is potentially in trouble with the Caridian, and I'll take Mid burst. I'll take Mid, Sandy going golden, I'll take Mid going golden in response. Hippo getting a great stun on the 2 folks. And this is going to be, we thought it was going to be a one-sided fight on the side of Ride or Die, but now it is a bloody split fight as Hippogriff chases Sandy Snake across the map. Calbert chasing Toasty down, and Blood just beating on the nearest target, is able to finally get the shutdown onto Sandy Snake, and that is going to be a 4-for-2 in favor of the Snakerdoodles. Man, bot lane dies so that the solo laners can live, and such has been Snake's win condition all season long.
This is disgusting. I can't. I don't know how much I can watch this without tagging this explicit. This is truly just the troll running over everyone. A very unfortunate way to start the fight. What happened was they were able to drop everything, able to kind of like almost chunk and do a lot of damage with the brand. But what ended up happening was Altic Mid got bandage tossed by the Amumu, but got buffered, and he flashed over the wall and took the Amumu into his brand, and they both got Amumu ulted. Really unfortunate coincidence that might have actually decided the fight, and the entire time the troll is coming in taking 0 damage from Twitch. Only takes damage it feels like, and he certainly did not feel like taking it then.
Yeah, it seemed like the fight got split so hard, and there were so many low health bars, especially on the side of Snakerdoodles, but able to do what they wanted to do. And as you said, this Trundle is just out of control. Just gonna back. They're gonna go for a reset. They are on Soul Point. Can I get a check on timers real quick? See when next dragon's gonna be spawning. Thank you very much. All right, next dragon.
It's a lot,
about 2
ocean
minutes.
souls for the Trundle.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. As if he didn't need enough. As if he didn't need more sustain. You know. But yeah, looking across the board, there's that beautiful mythic line. And yeah, if I could see the gold real quick as we take stock, everything's kind of slowing down a little bit. Aurelion Sol actually turning the corner against I'll Take Mid, starting to get ahead. Brand still very much ahead of Amumu. But that, yeah, almost 6,000, 5,000 gold lead.
It's disgusting.
most of the lead and the difference being on that Bloodbath and Beyond Trundle, and then pretty even actually relatively across the board, maybe 1,000 gold cure there. But yeah, this Trundle, he's a problem.
This is a story of a single team fight. You remember what happened in that mid lane around that big bush when Aurelion Sol was able to lay down all of his AoE and then Trundle came in and cleaned up for a quadra kill? Imagine how different this game looks if all 3 of those shutdowns don't go over to the Trundle, and he has just become such a difference maker with all of that extra gold on him. I just don't think that gold could have gone over to a better person. In some ways, like, Snakerdoodles got a little bit lucky in this game, but in other ways, they are absolutely capitalizing on the advantage that they were able to create for themselves.
Yeah, they really did, and that has been what they've been able to do all season long. Look for those advantages and just let Blood do his thing. Blood's been playing TCL since season 1, and we've seen this movie time and time again where Blood sees an inch of opportunity and he takes a mile into an advantage. And there's a reason why he's got 2 titles already and gunning for a 3rd. However, the rest of his team doing everything that they need to be doing to set up this level of disruption, right? It is very, very difficult to coordinate around a split pusher like this. And they're doing a great job of it.
We are seeing Grievous Boots, but only just the Thorn Mail from the Thresh. And I don't know how much time Bloodbath and Beyond is actually hitting this Thresh outside of like that one time where he was hunting for the quad. But I think they might need Grievous Wounds from someone else to make sure they actually have a chance to break through a little bit of this Trundle sustain. And oof. So once again, we're seeing the Syndra side lane versus Bloodbath and Beyond. He does have TP, but it's something where they're going to have to try and contest this without him, and they're just going to give it up.
Yeah, they're not in position for it. It looks like they're just going to try to stop the Soul. Yeah, fight for Soul, stop the Soul. Going to be free Baron for the Snakerdoodles, and Ride or Die going to try to burn this one down very quickly. They do have the damage for it, so they're going to be able to get this. They're going to stop the Soul. They're going to set themselves up for Soul. Middle inhibitor, however, is down, backs against the wall, facing a sweep, and that possibility is very, very real as Snakerdoodles looking to take a victory lap here. Sandy Snake going to be able to dodge a lot of that Caridian damage. A face block from Bush League to try to keep Sandy Snake alive, and there goes
goodness gracious
the meteor to it. Toasty insta cleanse, great cleanse from him. Sandy over the wall.
Oh, there's the
a
Trundle.
Dead jungler, and here comes the Trundle. It is time to troll as the rest of your team takes inhibitor turret. Blood is just going to tank 4 people on his own. It doesn't matter if there's a 6 balls in your face. You are just going to do whatever you want, and this is a wallet throw at this point. Take up Snakerdoodles. This is going to be a TCL championship for you. Sandy Snake's first, Blood's third. I think Lucid's got a couple himself.
Oh my god.
And this is a 3-0 sweep. Congratulations, Snakerdoodles. One of the most commanding finals we have seen in a while.
So dominant in so many phases of the game. Snakerdoodles looked like they were so cohesive throughout so many parts, and there were times where things looked shaky, where Ride or Die were able to play their game, but ultimately at the end of the day, the better team were able to capitalize, look for all of these little advantages, and really accumulate such strength through the strongest players on their team and come out with the victory. Huge performances from every member of Snakerdoodles. I cannot speak highly enough for what every single person was able to do throughout the entire series. I think this was truly a finals, despite being a 3-0, where both teams were able to showcase a lot of strengths, and both teams were able to show why they belonged there. But ultimately, Snakerdoodles with the performance that put them on top.
Yeah, I mean, it was game 2. Yeah, it was a bit rough, but in terms of games 1 and 3, those were very, 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 very close. Hello, champions! Congratulations, you are our Season 7 TCL champs. How does it feel, y'all?
Feels good, right?
It's what I like to hear. I like to hear all of this.
For this.
All right. I need a little more enthusiasm. I mean, I get the act like you've been there before, but come on.
We're trying to prep for Clash right now, so you know.
Man,
That's really what we've been prepping for.
They got the right thing on their minds. What's TCL in the face of ARAM Clash?
That's true. That's true.
It's true. TCL is like 2-3 times a year. ARAM Clash is maybe once.
Yeah, but honestly, going through those games, kind of what were you guys thinking with the comps? Because it looks like you guys kind of knew exactly what you were going to do and kind of did very similar things. So was there anything that Ride or Die did, especially in draft, that really took you guys by surprise?
Yeah, and let me answer this, because like we had a really good draft strategy. We prepped Luciv to play Xayah every game, and for whatever reason they banned it, and it was
Every
like
time.
we thought we had to play it. Like we thought we had to play it. Otherwise, like, yeah, they would get it. But with them banning it, it's like, why did they waste a ban on that? And then, I don't know, like, the Trundle ban felt really out of place, so we kind of just went with it in Game 3. We're just like, oh, yeah, like, hey, they left Trundle
Clearly
up.
we will
like,
win now.
like, just pick it, and somebody will play it, so...
And I honestly think that was kind of the difference maker, especially Blood. We shouted it out a bunch during the cast, but like Blood kind of TPing in, getting the quadra kill. Did you get every single shutdown and just like get 2,000 gold in that one team fight?
Yeah, I think I based on straight bought. I think I straight bought an item after that. I had like 2-3K.
Yeah, straight like finish an item, bought another item, but like really throughout the entire series, I can't pinpoint a weakness. So was there a point where you guys were wondering like, okay, what's our game plan here? Especially in game 2 when you guys were kind of rolling over. What were your kind of thoughts going into game 3? Was like, oh, they're trolling with this draft. Do we just kind of auto win, or but then you guys kind of got behind in gold. Things looked like things weren't getting too hot. Like, what was kind of the thought process game 2 and then kind of being behind in game 3?
I think if I can answer this one, that the honest, earnest answer, and this will come from me as the cocky player of the team, sure. This was already a free series. Like, if this wasn't a 3-0, our Clash journey would have been absolutely distraught, right? So it was probably like that's how we saw it the entire time. I tried my hardest game 3 to make it a series, but that game's too strong.
Yeah.
Dude, at least game 1 and 2 I look good.
Yeah, you popped off. That Draven quad in the bot lane to win the game when you guys were way behind was pretty hype for sure.
Yeah, it was all
So
sandy, but
I
I'll
have a
take it.
question. I have a question for Blood. Blood, obviously coming back, reprising your role in the top lane. Starting at the beginning of the season, you hadn't played for a while, and you were off working, doing adult stuff, whatever it was, and you decided to come back and take the role. And I think through this season, you kind of felt like you had something to prove, and that the old narrative around how Blood play wasn't true anymore. And I think it's pretty fair to say that you proved it. But how did that feel going into the season, and what is it that you wanted people to know through your gameplay through the season?
I mean, I think it's a little bit of two things. Primarily, like taking a big break and just not playing I haven't played any ranked this season, and like you said, I took a big break off. I think there's a little bit of benefit there to just like get out of my old play style and like come back kind of fresh and be able to kind of like, I don't know, play the game as I want. And I don't know, I think it was also like a little bit of pressure taken off as well. Like, I don't know, it just kind of felt good to come back, and obviously the team is doing well and our team is good, and it helps that the rest of your team is doing well, and that kind of takes the pressure off as well. But that being said, like, I don't know, I think it's basically what I'm saying is everybody should stop playing League.
Yes. That was my takeaway.
That is the
actually.
key.
Yeah. No, Blood, you pretty much popped off, and I Abarn buried the lead here, but you are unanimously our finals MVP on the back of especially the game 2 and game 3 performances where you pretty much just decided, hey, it's time to go win the game, and just ran over that Renekton game. And then with Trundle just 1v4ing, 1v5ing, it didn't matter. You did what you wanted. It was impressive, intimidating, and also a little nauseating to watch you exploit the League of Legends game the way that you have. So congratulations, and you should probably go take a shower at some point.
But was there any consideration to the fact that he stole my Penta and should therefore be relegated to the worst player on our team?
Listen,
you gotta earn him.
I gave him so much grief. Don't you worry. I gave him plenty of grief on the cast for that.
I
had no idea.
He did channel the power of the stolen Penta into game 2 and game 3. So it's the Penta of the series. So take what you can
It's all good, dude. It's all good. It's fine.
It's okay. It's the Draven, right? It's only a problem because you were playing Draven. And,
I had the most Draven score that Blood even called out. I didn't have a single assist. That's what I'm talking about.
It was. My favorite part of the Draven play was that you Box called it out. Your first kill as Draven was posthumous, so you didn't actually get to cash in on it. So it's like, oh, nice kill. Oh no.
Joke's on you. Calbert got me my actual first kill, and I did get to cash in on it.
Oh, there it is. There it is.
The second kill.
Good call. Good call. So I want to shift gears and I want to talk to Sandy Snake. Sandy, it is your first title. Congratulations. You are the namesake of this team.
Sure.
And you are King Scaler. What was your focus going into this series? It's your first TCL finals. I would argue y'all were probably the favorites, having beaten Ride or Die before. But yeah, what was your focus and kind of how did you play? Did things all go to plan, or was it everybody's got a plan until they get punched in the face? How did you feel about it?
Well, it felt good, and we had a easy game plan. I'll just sit mid and I'll take mid and I won't let him roam. I'll clear the waves and I'll follow when he does, and my team will just win everywhere else. And you kind of saw it in the games. If he can't make something happen, his team kind of fell apart. So we knew it every time. So I just took a back seat and let my team win for me.
Yeah, that seemed to be the case where we would look at mid. It would be about 10, 15 minutes in. You'd be 2 plates down, maybe 20 CS down, but your team would be in a position to win. Was that kind of the plan? I was like, okay, guys, I'm gonna get my butt whipped for like the first 10 to 15 minutes, and then we'll just do what we got to do as a team going into the mid game.
Yeah, I mean, we just me and him play the game different. So it's either I can play his game and go for like a scrappy like assassin brawler mid lane, but I'm probably gonna lose that, or I can just try to control him with a mage and then out team fight him later. So that's kind of the plan. So
yeah, well, it clearly worked. And lastly, Bush League, we haven't really talked about you. You just Leona'd game 1, Leona'd game 2, and they decided they'd had enough of that. And so you weren't able to get the Leona, and so you switched to Rakan. Is that a pick that you've been practicing, especially knowing that it is a Rudy classic, or is that something you just saw you wanted to pick and off you went?
Oh, first time.
First
Picked it up. I was reading
No
the
way.
stuff on the way in when we were loading up, and we almost needed to pause for it, but
That's a classic. That truly
we don't
takes
talk
a
about
lot.
the P word here.
I mean,
but seriously, it wasn't your first. It wasn't your first, right?
I played it this season. I think
Okay,
a couple of games.
That's what I thought.
But I mean, it's more to take away from Rudy than to put something else on. We weren't actually expecting the Thresh pick at all, so it was. I mean, it shut me down. Like me and Luciv got to have no fun the entire game, just sitting there. Like I can't engage on him. So
now let's call a spade a spade. They play like babies, dude. Just hide under turret.
I wasn't
gonna
say it.
Hide under turret. Wait for Caridian. It's all
trying to
good.
win gracefully here, but Luciv's right.
Yeah, and
you don't need to win gracefully. We're a 3-0 champs. Act like it.
You love to hear it.
I have nothing else to say. I'm gonna stop talking. Just gonna let Luciv rant. It'll be like a podcast. Just have Luciv rant for the next 5 minutes.
Yeah,
I'm gonna take a break.
You know what?
Please,
I got
no, we've
I got
dealt with this the whole season on this team, dude.
All right, just kidding. And Luciv was there too. Good job, Luciv. Anyway, congratulations, y'all. Blood as Finals MVP. Do you have any final words for your team, for our awesome viewers at home, or anything else?
I'll just say good games to everybody. A shout out Hippo. I mean, I think he gave me the best competition in the top lane.
Yeah,
I mean, he did soul me. Give him 2. But yeah, he put up some resistance. So shout out to him. And
Can I ask a question to you, Blood?
sure, man.
Do you think if he went lethal tempo, it would have gone different?
Honestly, yeah, Lethal Tempo Darius is really good. I've been telling him all season he should be playing it, and he just won't.
Oh, really?
Roger that. Roger that.
Interesting. Very interesting. Well, congratulations, Blood. Congratulations, Snakerdoodles. Y'all are TCL Season 7 champions. Go play ARAM, and hopefully you will find as much success there as you did here.
GG's.
GG's.
All right. Thank you all so much. That is going to do it, not only for this broadcast, but for all of Season 7. Before we go, I just wanted to do a quick shout out to everybody who helped us, not just tonight, but all season long. We have had so many awesome casters. We've had a lot of first-time casters, a lot of first-time producers. It's been probably one of the most fun TCL seasons, just to be able to cast with so many different people and just have so many different perspectives. Tonight, big shout out to T-Skull, Titanium Skull, always busting out the analyst desk, Rioklu for also hanging out on the desk, Abarn on producer, and Box especially for being my co-caster for the night. Box, any final words before we gotta go?
Like you said, just thank you to everyone for making it happen, especially Abraham for running the league and all of the producers who work behind the scenes to make sure that these casts actually happen, really stepping up, filling the gaps. I can't shout out all of you, but you know who you are. Thank you so much. You guys really make TCL what it is. And I just had so much fun casting tonight. I've had so much fun watching all the games in TCL. And I just really want to thank everyone for participating. And it was a lot of fun.
I couldn't agree more. Thanks so much, Box. And finally, the biggest thank you to all of you who hang out in chat and watch. We wouldn't be able to do this without you. So thank you all so much. Have a wonderful night. Thank you so much for hanging out. And this has been Season 7. I'm Jaws, and we'll see you next year.